Hello, 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 and welcome to take 3 of the Red Leaf Retrocast, Worldwide Weeb Edition, the most international podcast of all time. Maybe not. I mean, JD is moving back to the States with us. This podcast, as always, is brought to us by David's Tea. If you order online, spend $50 US, or does it work for Canadian, JD?
It sure does.
You get free shipping to North America. I'm not
Canadian
sure.
company.
I'm not sure if that works for Mexico or not, or Latin America.
Nope.
With
For
every order,
now.
you get 3 free teas. First Latin America, then the world.
Yeah, it's on for instance, the questions in the website. They say only North America for now. So I'd like to point that out. There's a chance.
Oh, just like
There's
Hulu.
a chance.
Got it.
Yes.
Right? Just like Hulu. It's only in America for now.
Back on topic, with every order, you get 3 free tea samples. That's right, count them. 1, 2, 3 free tea samples with every order. And with that, let's catch up with everyone. Tori, how you doing after messing up our last recording?
I'm doing good. Well, you have to point that out. I'm doing good. You know, my microphone for some reason deciding not to pick up my voice, even though I tried it like three times before recording, but oh well. Other than that, you know, I've been doing good. I've been watching anime and just relaxing, really. Yeah.
Speaking of technical difficulties running rampant, Hickey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Let's see if I can say the same thing I said last time. Ooh, deja vu time. Okay. I'm doing fine. I'm catching up with anime, playing the Idol Master, you know, trying to not get stabbed on the street and get run over by cars.
Welcome to Brazil. Hey, JD, how you doing? Anything actually happened to you?
Yeah. Things are going much better. I don't have audio issues.
Yeah.
Everything's definitely recording.
Wait, hang on. I
have now been up for I've now been up for an hour after getting totally hammered last night watching going to a WWE event. So saw some amazing wrestling. Got a shirt that says Sanity, which is a group in which the first ever German-born WWE champion is now a part of. So that's cool. And I've been playing a lot of video games lately. So hooray! A lot of Uncharted Lost Legacy, the new Sonic game, basically everything that came out in August. Been playing. Played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which I absolutely loved. If you want to hear more in-deep thoughts, you should go check out the Modern Gaming Podcast, a part of Red Leaf Retrocast that I recorded with a fellow Discord member.
Yeah, we don't shill
So,
on
yeah.
the podcast here, JD. Anyway.
It's the same podcast!
Nah, stop that.
Nah. Anyway, I've been doing the normal thing. Same shit, different day. Played
Who the hell asked you?
Yeah,
Nobody.
Joe.
I don't fucking care. We're going through this.
You should ask yourself at least.
Okay,
Come on
me,
now.
how am I doing? Well, I'm doing all right. Been playing Skullgirls. I played with Hickey for like 5-6 hours yesterday. We played like 50 games.
Yeah.
He's getting way better as time goes on.
Hang on. I have to say my part. My thumb is numb. There's a black spot on this. I need to see a doctor. That was fucking amazing. Okay.
We're not retracing our steps.
We are retracing our steps. You have no fucking time in this, okay? You were the one who messed up the recording. I'm doing what I want.
Don't throw me under the bus, Sick.
I will throw
the
you
axles
onto
at
the
least
fucking
pretty?
train. Senpai's train.
No.
I'm pretty sure Norway, or Brazil has never beaten Norway in soccer, so Tori must win this match.
Yes.
That's because Norway never gets to
Thank
the World
you.
Cup anyway.
Hey.
What are they, America?
No.
Oh yeah. Ooh, America's not looking too good, are they?
Have they ever?
You're looking better than us. We got destroyed by Germany.
They have a nice team. Like, no, I'm serious. They have a nice team. They have a nice soccer team, especially in the women's soccer or women's football.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, too
At this
bad.
point, I'm convinced the women's team could beat the men's team handily.
I would like to
I'm
see it.
convinced. Because the women's team is actually champions, and the men's team has this whole persona where they think that all of a sudden they should get the old coach and play old players again. So now they're probably not going to make the World Cup.
Good. They shouldn't.
They don't deserve it if that's their mindset. That's why you see countries like Germany and like Netherlands always playing their young players in international games that don't matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Netherlands are kind of terrible at the moment, so.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna I don't think they're gonna go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I think they'll have another generational.
For
seems to
sure.
happen. That seems to happen to the Netherlands like every 10 years. They all of a sudden have this crazy generational masterful genetics go on, and then the next 10 years is all building up again.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. JD believes in eugenics.
Well, talking about Europeans, I think Belgium has a very good chin.
Belgium, they've hit the gold pot when it comes to like talent.
Yeah.
They've got everyone at the moment.
Yeah, they're the new Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
America should be ashamed of itself that the fact that these extremely small countries, smaller than some states, America can't seem to produce any talent.
It's okay though. We've won every Super Bowl.
Oh, what a
how
shock!
Great. Norway should be ashamed. We're worse than Iceland. And Iceland is actually qualifying for World Cups and stuff.
Iceland started the 76th minute clap or something.
Yes, they did. That's an Icelandic war cry.
Yeah, that's the best thing that's come out of their country in a while.
Oh yeah. No, but it is annoying now. We fucking took their national team coach who brought them to the World Cup. That's our coach now. We still suck.
You can't win if you don't have players.
Of course we can't. The problem is that like the Norwegian Football Association, they're just burying their heads saying, "Hey, doesn't matter." But anyways, this podcast.
Do you think
is
any
not
of these
about
weebs
football.
give a shit about sports?
No, they don't. Let's move on.
Alright, good. I'm glad we just wasted 5 minutes on sports.
Hey man, that's what we do best.
We all like sport ball in some way. There's got to be at least one.
Sports!
Yay! JD, transition to Hickey now.
Okay, Hickey, how's that summer anime season going?
Okay, again.
This is a fucking massacre.
I don't care. Okay, we're doing no steps. I'm still catching up with anime. I said on Thursday, Joe Senpai and Tori were with me in voice chat. I watched 9 hours of anime straight. I started at 7 a.m. End up at 5 p.m. It wasn't a very smart idea. I was used to watch 14 hours of anime every single day, but that was 80 years ago. And well, I came up with another tactic to catch up with anime. I'll just wait the new episodes to come by and watch the last episode and the new episode of the series. Because watching fucking 20 episodes in one day, I don't think I can do it anymore. I know I can, but I don't really feel like it. I feel like studying and stuff like that. Two things I want to say. The first of all, Vatican is still funny as fuck. I'm glad I didn't drop Sagrada Reset because it's actually pretty good. I'm enjoying the ending of the season. The second core of the show is actually pretty good. So again, I said that a long time ago. I'll say it again. If you can go past the fucking dumb shit and philosophic dump that is the first core until episode 10, watch the series. You gonna enjoy. I hope you enjoy. I know I'm enjoying. And then the other thing we're discussing passionately before Tori realized the technical problems was Made in Abyss episode 10. Because something very major happened. It was the first very heavy scene of the show. We were discussing before if the show would stop before, because we knew that the manga, especially if you go to 4chan, you get spoiled on it, and the moderators keep deleting the fucking threads, but still, how brutal the manga becomes. And we were discussing if the show would stop before that happened, and sure enough, they didn't. It came out of nowhere. It was very amazing. It was very well done. The character designs looked great on that scene, especially when, like I said in the other recording, not to spoil anything, but if you watch the episode, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. I read the manga, the cracking sound. That was fucking brutal, and I enjoyed. It was very entertaining. I was laughing because I'm crooked, and not, you shouldn't be like me, but still, I was laughing the entire time. I thought it was great. I was clapping and stuff. Whew. Okay. Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tori watched it first, and I was listening to his reactions. He posted a screenshot, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't not watch this now immediately. Could not be... As long as you don't say directly what happens, you can't be spoiled.
Yeah.
As much sense as that makes.
I mean, it's one of those things, like, you can explain it to be, like, you can kind of say what happens, and then it's like, but the impact of the scene is kind of in the way it's portrayed. It's not so much that, like, oh, you know that this is gonna happen, but it's like, when you actually see this happening, this whole scene unfolding before your eyes, you're sitting there going, oh god. Oh no!
Yeah, it's no longer a cute girl doing a cute thing, like most anime from this season especially.
Good.
Oh yeah,
That's not true.
That scene in question, it made my stomach turn, and I could say that is not something that happens very often in anime. But I was sitting there going like, oh, this is horrible, and like I can especially like really like see myself in Reg in this situation, because when this is going on, he is having a panic attack. He just doesn't know what to do anymore. He's like running around trying to do half of everything. So in turn, he does nothing really. Like he's just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And he's clearly struggling with the situation. And that was just, I love seeing that, because it's like, it makes sense when this happens to somebody close to you, somebody who's close to you, right? And you just see these things happen to them, and you're like, you feel like you have to do something. But what do you do?
Well, yeah, what the show has done very well is foreshadowing. So nothing should surprise you, but the way everything's portrayed in these scenes is still shocking. And I really appreciate how they didn't censor anything out.
Oh yeah,
that was very appreciated.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It wouldn't have shocked me if they would just have a cut and then just show the after effects.
Like
I mean, a lot of shows wouldn't even have done that. They would have just put black bars all over that screen.
Like the liquids would be another color, not,
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
So they're in the fourth layer, and they foreshadow in episode 2 and at the beginning of episode 10. They kind of reiterate what happens in the fourth layer. Bigger, badder creatures, just like any other level. And if you ascend from the fourth level, you're going to bleed out of every orifice in your body.
Yeah.
So use your imagination. You're like, okay.
And I just need to point out, because when they faced that monster on the fourth level, like, I was really curious as to how they were going to keep getting worse, because I just, of course, think, this, like, made up, like, power level. It's like, oh, this one is even more powerful than the last. But it's like,
good. Toriko style.
Yeah, but when it's just, like, you see they face the monster, and it's like, they try to dodge him, but he's reading them. He's anticipating their moves, and he gets real close. He's super fast. He disposes, he gets rid of their weapons. And then when Reg is like, I need to go and grab my weapon, you see the monster, he, looks at him, and then he kicks the weapon, the weapon on the ground, in behind him, so that he has to get behind the monster to get it. It's like, Jesus, this monster is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just animals assessing the situation to get their prey.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like you said, it has a lot of foreshadowing, but the growth and power of the monsters were exponential. Like, they fight
I'm not so sure
they
about
fight
that.
another monster, the flying one, and it doesn't seem to be a lot of, very intelligent. And it's not that far behind when they, that scene, that sequence of the story happens. But the growth from the monster is just very, very high. I thought it went for a very dreadful situation to a certain death situation. It's very different. It grew a lot for me. The other thing...
It's different levels of monsters in a forest. Hecky.
Well, but they're not in a forest. They are going down, deep in abyss, and Yeah.
Well, I was. You get the idea.
No, he doesn't.
No, you don't get the idea.
I get the idea.
analogy I
No,
was
I
making?
get it. I'm just messing
Like
with
you're
you.
not just gonna find a bear in a forest. You're gonna find other things.
Yeah. Senpai had pointed out something interesting in the other recording. I think he should say something about it, because I think it's important to talk about it. I think since the anime is coming to an end, there's only 3 episodes left. I think it's an interesting thing to point out right now.
That would be that this seems to be heavily influenced by the Divine Comedy, specifically Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah, it's very clearly inspired by it.
By the way, Divine Comet, if you haven't read it, you should read it. It's very nice. It's a very cool story. And the other
It's a very
thing,
nice happy tale.
the other
about
thing
one
I
man's
almost
trip
forgot to talk.
Descent into hell.
Yeah, well, I mean, Descent to Hell is always fun.
Yep.
Yep.
The other thing I almost forgot is the guy from Smartphone is Jesus. I don't care. I don't fucking care anymore. He's Jesus. He's the amazing.
Wait,
he's the best guy of the season. Fuck
that
it.
true?
Yes, he's Jesus. There's no way. There's no fucking way. I'm done. And he had sex with
Cool.
God. To be fucking amazed like that?
Yeah.
God fucking that kid.
Well, he is Catholic God, right? So I mean, it makes sense.
Jesus.
Oh, you're awful.
Yeah, I'll see you in hell. It's where all the hookers and blow is gonna be.
At least the hookers. Not sure about the blow.
Everyone who I learned that everyone who watches anime goes to hell, so nothing we can do.
Yeah, the news told us that.
Legend of the Overfiend all over again.
Oh, the year 2005. That was amazing in my country. Anyway.
An amazing nightmare.
I guess. We could talk about
So
it
JD,
another
I'm under
time.
the impression that we have some. I'm under the impression we have some podcast questions.
I guess not.
I guess not.
Uh,
All right. I guess I'll just start with these then. First question's from Meowth900, fellow podcaster. She asks a bunch of guys, best boy this season. Mine's the abs guy from Aoyama-kun.
Joe, I didn't know you felt that way. Jokes.
Look
Jokes.
at JD trying to cover that he was gone.
Yeah, seriously.
Uh,
I'm gonna go.
yeah, I just went to pour myself some tea.
Of course.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the cop out answer. I'm gonna go with Deku.
Deku.
It's not a cop out.
It's totally
Sure
a
it
cop
is.
out. The,
The main
long-running
character's
shonen
always.
character.
Yep.
The main character in a shonen. Who cares?
I mean, I'm gonna be the boring guy, and I'm gonna say I don't actually think there's been a a male character that stood out for me. I literally trying to think this question over. I couldn't think of a single male character.
But Toya though.
So
Not
I
a
mean,
one,
I liked
Tori.
Reg in the last episode, but So I guess
So,
I guess that by
kind
default.
of reg.
I guess that by default he wins. I don't know.
Toya from
I'm gonna go with
Smartphone.
Mine would
idiot
be,
from Gamers.
Oh, no.
Mine would be Trevor Belmont from Castlevania.
Oh,
not
that's
anime.
true.
Not anime.
That's
Shut
that's
your
from
mouth.
the
Get
season.
that shit in general discussion.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god! Not again. Of course it will be Toya from
And
the
he's not a
Isekai.
boy, he's a man.
Yeah. Isekai Smartphone. Of course, this dude is amazing. He's fucking Jesus. He can teleport. He can read minds. He can cure every single person in a battalion in seconds. He can kill millions of thousands of enemies just using his smartphone. So of course he's best guy of the season. But no, best boy in the season for me is Honda Toa from Kombini Kareshi. That guy is fucking amazing. I'm falling in love with him. He's just. I thought he would be the
Hickey, I didn't know you felt that way.
dude. Seriously, if you watch it, if you
We've
know
already repeated
what
ourselves this
he's
podcast. Let's not
passing
keep it
through,
going.
you'd say, dude, you're the best guy of the season. Basically, Kombini Karashi, he is the He's kind of the popular guy, but he likes the class rep, and the class rep doesn't give a fuck about him at the beginning. He goes through everything to make her happy. Tries to study more, tries to make the class representative job, and because of her family and because they want her to be a lawyer as well, she keep giving him the cold shoulder, and he keeps going because he likes him. He likes her, you know. And he keeps trying and trying and trying, and when he succeeds, fucking lawyer comes by and grabs his daughter and goes away, and Honda is still there, like, but I like her, so I think it's worth it. I think it's worth going through this to be together with her. So yeah, he's the best guy of the season, definitely. Who's watching Kombini Karashi will understand. Ayu and Crash, I think.
Members of our Discord.
Yes.
Yes.
Which you can totally join by dropping any of us a message on Twitter, My Anime Lists, wherever you can find us.
Yep.
And also members of our Mal group page.
True.
Uh-huh.
As a matter of fact, it's actually in the comments of the Mal group page. You don't even need to ask if you're too shy.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Next question comes from Semibolt. Name an anime you thought was bad at first and then ended up liking. JD.
Bullied Orphan Girl Show? No, I can't say that with a straight face.
You loved that show before it even started. Don't give me that shit.
Yeah, we had a whole discussion on how shitty it is.
It's not that
we did.
shitty. The people in the show is
That's
are
what the
shitty.
entire concept
The
has
show
to be.
It's not that shitty.
Hickey, you're lying. Stop lying to our listeners, okay?
Okay.
Oh, man. I guess Dimension W would probably be along that line. It always ends up being kind of, for me, it's always like a guilty pleasure type anime. I don't like it at first, but then somehow I end up warming up to it.
Nah, guilty pleasures aren't real.
Oh, come on.
I agree. If you like something, there's usually a reason.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly. Let's see if I can think of an older show. Come back to me in a second.
I couldn't think of
Anyone
anything.
thinks that?
Awesome.
I'm having that same issue.
Awesome.
I know there's something, but I just can't think of it.
Yeah, I have a shitty taste. I like mostly everything. That's why my mean score is 7. 7-0.
I know. Selector Infected with Cross. I hated that show going into it. After a while, I realized that I was looking at the show I was looking at the show wrong.
I was looking at the
When
show and planning on it being good, and it just wasn't, so now it's fine.
No. I was looking at the show from a card game perspective. I was like, this card game makes no sense until I realized that fuck the card game.
It's not about the card game.
Nobody
It
cares about
never
the
is
goddamn
about the
card
fucking card game.
Yeah, and once I realized that, I was like, you know what? This show's actually not that bad.
Okay, I have one.
Well, Semi, I'm sorry about sandbagging you this hard, but I didn't like Mob Psycho 100 until like episode 3.
Same.
Yeah.
It was too ugly,
yeah.
and the comedy wasn't hitting for me.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I
it started,
agree.
and it never stopped.
Yes.
Yeah. Once that show got going, then there was just no going back. It's like, yes, this show is fucking perfect.
I
Take
remember
away
one.
those 3 episodes. Those first 3 episodes, and it's perfect.
I remembered one.
You know what'd be a good one to answer? It'd be One Piece.
Yeah.
That's Stockholm Syndrome. That's
Yeah,
different.
yeah, it's different. It's completely
Because
different.
the first 5 or 6 episodes, I really wasn't into it at all, and
I
I
wonder why.
thought it was very overrated and everything. And then all of a sudden, I found myself watching over 700 episodes almost now.
Don't worry,
Ew.
it gets good at episode 580.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched 50 episodes, basically 3 arcs of One Piece, and I've liked one of them. That is just not good enough.
I remember one. Yuki Yuna is a hero. I didn't like it first, but I ended up liking a lot at the end.
I do find it
There you
strange
go.
to continue watching something you don't like until you like it. I don't really understand the thought
I
process.
mean,
behind that.
yeah, I guess like episode 1. Episode 1 wasn't good. Episode 2, episode 2 was better. Maybe episode 3 and episode 3, 4, 5, 6. And like, well, shit. I guess I like this thing. You see yourself rooting for characters you didn't like before, you didn't even think about then, and suddenly, you're on the edge of your seat and you're like, yes, go do that. Or, stop and wait and think, wait, I didn't like this character. I didn't care about this character. And now I'm rooting for them. I want them to succeed. I want the story to be great. Well, I went from disliking the show to liking the show. It's not a matter of episodes, I think.
I've always been a fan of the rule of 3, and I know most people don't agree. Well, actually, most people agree with me. Some people disagree with me. I just I don't think it's worth it to spend over like 2 hours or an hour and a half or an hour or an hour and a whatever you spend on it on something you don't like just to see if it could possibly get good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the rule of 3, so kinda, but I also have to say, like, I think the rule of 3 for most people is pretty much dead by this point. But like, I mean,
I don't think so.
It always depends. I don't know. I see a lot of people like just killing themselves over trying to watch everything. But
hey,
like,
hey,
I know, right?
Watching everything is
not
fun.
directed at you, but you are a part of that group.
Hey,
but like,
hey.
the point I'm trying to make is like, I think it depends on like, because there's different levels of dislike as well. It's like, I'm not gonna drop a show just because I'm sitting there going like, I don't think like this show hasn't grabbed me by 3 episodes. I don't abide by that rule that hard. But if it's like, okay, it's been 3 episodes and I do not like this at all, and then it's like, sure, I'm not going to continue because I highly doubt that it's going to change my mind. Then also, kind of in the same vein, I don't necessarily abide by the three episode rule in the sense that if I really do dislike a show, I might not even go to 3 episodes. I might drop it at 1 episode or 2.
Yeah, well,
by the 3rd episode, something has to happen to keep my interest. It's
yes.
I'll drop something at episode 1, and that's not a problem to me. But if it's gonna be something, just needs to progress. I need to be interested by the 3rd episode. Otherwise, I'm gonna drop it.
I'm gonna explain it right now. By theory,
Okay.
Because when I was in high school, I actually wanted to be a writer, so I read a bunch of things, about writing and stuff. The 3 episode rule is a crooked rule. It's wrong. At the beginning, let's start with that. The name 3 episode rule is wrong. Basically, when you write in a script, you have 3 parts: the introduction, the main plot, and the ending part. The introduction is 25% of the show, movie, whatever you want to say. The part in the middle is 50%, and the ending is on the others 25%. So if you're watching a 12 episode show, yes, it's 3 episodes. If you're watching more than this, you have to watch 25% of the show to get over the introduction. At the end of the introduction, they usually have something that is called a plot point. A plot point is something that connects the introduction to the main part, and then the main part to the ending. Problem is,
If I can just make this absurd, I'm not gonna watch 250 episodes of Detective Conan just to get past the intro.
Yeah. No, the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. The problem is usually the Japanese, they don't apply this rule. Like you have shows that you need to watch 6 episodes to get out of like 12 episode shows. You have to watch 6 episode shows to get out of introduction, and then you have like 4 shows of main part and 2 shows to ending. Sometimes it's crazy, especially with long running shows. You don't apply this rule. But of course, there's another rule, which is the most interesting part, and the part where you paying the most attention to a show, to a movie, to something like that, is the first 10 minutes. So if an anime doesn't grab you in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, it's not like it will grab you after it. Of course, that's theory. It's book. It's what people who worked on making movies and writing scripts their whole life say. I don't know. Might be different for some people, but that's what they say. It's 10 minutes. In the first 10 minutes, if you're not enjoying yourself, it's not that you're gonna enjoy more than you watch enjoying, and you should get over the introduction, which would be 12 episode shows would be the first 3 episodes, and so go on. It's interesting
See,
to read about
I
it.
don't actually think that. I don't think that
Well-
it's that hard of a concept to break for me because I don't need to enjoy a show to go past 3 episodes. I just need to be interested. If they can't interest me in those 3 episodes, then I really don't care what the rest of the show's gonna do.
Yeah,
Like there
but
should be
But
some hook somewhere.
I just want to talk because, like, what Hickey says, and I understand where he's coming from, and in a standard, like, because the rule does apply. The only thing that kind of I think breaks a little bit from that would be it still applies the same concepts. It's not wrong, but it's like when you have a story that goes in medias res, I think it's called, which is basically you start from the midpoint, which is where they drop you in at the climax or right before the climax. That is a technique a lot of people use to try to basically grab the viewer right away because they want you to be like, whoa, this is what's going to happen. And then they go back and they kind of set everything up.
Even Berserk does it.
Yeah.
You start off in the Black Swordsman arc.
Yeah, and then you go to the Golden Age.
yeah,
So there's a lot of like writing tools and stuff that you can do to kind of work around that. So it's like the problem is like, I understand, the 3 episode rule kind of came because you do need some sort of break off point if you're not going to watch something. But it's really hard to find the perfect break off point because that can be different from series to series. So
Well, it's not a hard rule. It's just a soft rule. It's a soft line.
yeah.
yeah. No, like I said, it's not something that people do apply as it's written. It's just something. Usually, what you need to pay attention is the plot point, where they go. This is the problem, or this is something we're gonna face, or we are done with the introduction and now we're gonna start. It can be on the 3rd episode. It can be on the 4th episode. It can be on the episode number 100. But I think you should watch the show until you see that point. Usually, it's not subtle. It's more of an explosion than in whisper. So I don't know. I think after that plot point, the first plot point, you think, "Oh shit, I'm liking this show." And, going back to the question that we kind of side tangent. If after that plot point you think that you liking the show, good. Yes.
Well, it's
We went so
gonna
far, I
equate it
don't
to
know where
fishing.
we are on the fucking question anymore.
I'm
Still on
gonna
the second question.
3.
yeah, I'm gonna equate
No,
it
we're
to
on question
I'm gonna
2.
equate it to fishing. It's like you cast the line out and the line has a hook and there's a fish at the end of that hook. So what you do is the bigger fish, which is gonna be the viewer, you go after the bait and you bite the bait. Well, you can take the bait, but if it doesn't set the hook, you're swimming away. If it sets the hook, you're good for the rest of the series. They're gonna reel you in the whole time. If that makes any sense
Alrighty.
for anyone
Yeah, it
who
does.
doesn't fish.
Yeah. So I got a question to ask you guys. Are we going to answer all 10?
Yeah.
Or just have the anime we're going to discuss at the end, Golden Boy, which we haven't mentioned yet?
Doesn't matter.
We
We're
mentioned
getting
Pretty
there.
short.
We mentioned it the first time.
Probably.
Yeah, we didn't mention it this time.
We can do all 10.
Yeah.
Let's do all 10. Let's at least get the third question going now.
I mean, it's technically the same question. Crash.
No, it's not.
It's a very similar question from our boy Crash, who needs to still write us a review.
Yeah, Crash.
Name an anime you thought you'd hate before you started watching it, whether it was based on a PV or the synopsis, but you ended up enjoying it. For this, my answer is Kisniver, because it's written by Mario Okada, and I don't like how she writes. But I do love Trigger.
Trigger fanboy.
For me,
Yeah,
For me,
boy.
it would be
I know.
3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother. It's a show from the 70s, and it just seemed to be very childish from the synopsis I was reading. I didn't think I would like it. I just going into the mindset, all right, I'll just watch a little bit of it, and I'll get the gist and kind of write a review over it. And I ended up watching all like 50 episodes and was really engrossed in the story and the character. I mean, the show focuses on a small Italian child going to Argentina.
Cool. See,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this, or not take it in a different direction, but the show I'm gonna talk about is the show I thought I would hate, just based on the title and everything, because it's a long ass light novel title. Would be, and I'm gonna use the short name, World End. Then I watched it and I thought this is actually not that bad. And I kept watching it and I realized this is actually very bad. never mind. So I dropped it. So I kind of went through the entirety. I was like, this is bad. This is actually not that bad. And then right back into, this is bad. Never mind. I was wrong.
Nope, never mind. Still awful. Oops, all terrible.
Yeah.
I sure thought it would be. I don't know. I don't think it ever happened to me. Basically, because I watch a bunch of shows, and I really don't have the time to watch all the PVs and stuff like that. So I usually go more raw. I see the picture, I look up the synopsis, and if it sounds at least a little bit, I don't know, relatable or believable, I watch it. That's how I go. That's why I watch fucking 30 shows every season. But I know that happened with manga before. I Shield 21, especially because I don't really like sports anime or sports manga. And I certainly don't like American football.
Sports!
Yay, sports!
I also don't like American football
We're
that
going
much.
back into sports talk.
But I Shield 21 is very good and surprised me. The other one is a little manga called Shiore Experience. It's about music. Shiore is a high school teacher. She's 27 years old. She got possessed by Jimi Hendrix, and she needs to become a fucking rock legend before she turns 28. Because if she turns 28, she's gonna die, just like every single rock legend. So it's a fairly good manga. I laughed the entire time. Jimi Hendrix is amazing. There's a bunch of Jimi Hendrix music going on. I really wish that became an anime, but it will be such a pain to have every single Jimi Hendrix music they have playing. Oh, but it's very good. I recommend you to read it if you have the chance.
Our next question is from Semibolt. Name a character you like from an anime you hate.
Tomoyo from Clannad.
I have one.
At least you picked a good one.
I just don't remember I don't remember his name, but it's the alien gay dude from Gatchaman Crowds.
The alien gay dude.
Don't you know who's
I
I'm talking
understand
about?
why you like him, but it's not a bad show. I don't know what you're talking
It
about.
is. It's not a bad show. I never said it was a bad show. I said a show I don't like, and that was the question. Pay attention to the fucking question, Tori.
Nah, man. To me, those are one and the same. I don't fucking know. That's the problem. I can't remember one. I know there are people, but it's one of those things where it's like, I forget. I'm very bad with names, so I forget a lot of them.
I'm gonna look up the name while you guys think of a character you liked from the show you hated.
Remzo K
Let's
from
see here.
ReZero.
You mean the only character? Yeah.
Yeah,
the
the only
only
one that isn't
character.
a walking around trope. Oh wait, that's right. She's just waifu bait. She's a walking
Oh,
trope
boy.
as well.
Oh boy.
Bait.
I really like. I always go back to this anime, Megazone 23, the OVA from the 80s. I really like basically all the characters, but I hate part 2 and 3 so much, I feel like then I don't like the anime anymore.
Okay.
Does that count? Because I only like one part of the OVA and there's 4 of them.
Yes.
The parts aren't characters, JD. Don't cop out.
Exactly. So I hate the anime as a whole. I do like the characters, basically all of them. The main character especially is quite enjoyable. There's a moment there he's being hunted by the government and he goes up to a chick and he's just like, "You want to have sex? You want to bang?" And she's like, "What? No, we barely know each other." "All right, I mean, if you don't want to do it." And then he just gets up and leaves and she holds his hand to get back. He's like, "All right, so we're going to bang?"
Nice.
Works every time.
Yeah.
60% of the time, it works every time.
The name of the character, by the way, is OD. I look it up.
Good.
I don't like a lot of the Lupin the Third movies, but Lupin and Fujiko are amazing.
I mean, they're always amazing.
Nah, Fujiko's garbage.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yep,
whoa,
that's right.
whoa.
Fight me.
Listen to this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Next
I
you're
will.
gonna go-
I'm
next
coming to
you're
Rhode Island.
Next, you're gonna go and say that she's just a copy of a Bond girl.
Well, she is.
She is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her. That was how she was written. So yeah, you'll be right. But nah, she's amazing. Shut
Before
up.
I get all the hate mail, that was a joke, everybody. That's sarcasm.
No, he's not joking. He's being totally serious, guys. Hate him in. Come on.
Yeah, send
Make
us
me the most
hate mail.
popular guy in this podcast.
They're fun.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Hate me, go ahead.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, I don't have an answer for this question. I can't. I literally cannot think. I'm not much of a character guy though. That's the problem. So it's like I'm just sitting there going like, what was that character's name again? What show was that? I don't remember.
Japanese dude number one.
I was really fond of the character of I'm really fond of the character Utena in Revolutionary Girl Utena, and I hate that anime.
Bad taste, huh?
Right.
Rose of Versailles is pretty good though,
Of course it is.
so
'Cause it's the source
I don't
material.
hate that.
Oh no! All right, are we out of fans? Have I kicked them all off the podcast for disagreeing with me? Great, let's
Yep.
continue. Crash says, "What is your first favorite anime? What show took its place, and so on? Or has your favorite anime always been your favorite?"
Gundam Wing, One Piece took over.
Oh my
Still bad
god. That bad
For me,
taste though.
my first.
My first favorite anime was Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, but,
My first
oh.
favorite anime was Cowboy Bebop. And then the one that took over it was, I think it was Higurashi. Don't quote me on that though. I know that is not much. That is not much better, but hey.
Yeah, no, don't worry
Higurashi's now
about
your
it.
most favorite anime?
My
It's
most
in
favorite
my top
anime
10.
is my first favorite anime is Pokemon because I was 5.
There you go.
You're going that far back. Okay, cop out answer.
I can go that far back because I have that much of a backlog.
I also watched Pokemon. What's your point? I just didn't know it was anime.
And then I watched Ava, and Ava was taken over by End of Evangelion, and here we are.
My favorite anime when I started was Hamtaro. No. My favorite anime was
Little
Taro.
hamsters, big adventure.
It was Doraemon.
my favorite anime was Senseiya, and then it became Ergo Proxy.
My favorite
Ergo
anime was
Proxy,
Power
that's right.
Rangers.
Hey,
Shut up.
I watched every single episode of Ultraman. We had some VHS tapes, and I watched everything of that. I know the attacks. I often do that, looking at the mirror. The fucking beam, Ultraman beam, it's amazing. Anyway, next
What a
For
question.
those wondering, the Blu-ray of Gundam Wing is coming out soon.
I'm sure Nozomi Entertainment will just put out a Kickstarter for it like the last one.
Yeah,
Scumbags.
just gonna say,
No, they didn't actually.
True Heart 2 is coming out on the Blu-ray and DVD if you guys wanna watch it. Or... Anyway.
Fantastic. Can't wait to not watch it.
Unless they're remastering the sex game, I don't care.
Okay.
Nice.
I still need to finish the second one. I don't have the time. Intro's best. Anyway, the other one has a favorite anime. Okay, next one. Next question from Skiff. Do you feel like hyperbole, or in layman critical? Wait, nope. Or in layman terms, dick riding leads you to be more cynical and or more critical of an anime when you watch it? I think.
Fun fact, that is our discussion for the
I
day
think
as well.
Can we,
Yeah.
let's skip that and answer that after
No.
Nah,
No, I'll
we
answer
can
that.
talk
No.
about it. We just don't have to go into detail.
No, because
Hype
like we
and
can
hyperbole
segue
can
into
ruin a
the
series.
we can segue into the
Shut up.
Okay. Sure. Go on, Tori.
How about- it can be
Say
a
what do you
simple
want.
it can be a simple yes or no question, or yes or no answer.
Yeah, no, I mean, in my case, it's basically as simple as it depends. Sometimes, most of the times, I don't think so. Sometimes, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say hype and hyperbole can clearly affect whether or not I enjoy a series. It does make me more cynical, but I'm pretty cynical as a general rule. So I guess it makes me more critical. It makes me nitpick a little more because everyone heralds it as the second coming of anime Christ, and I want to see what they see. But when it lets me down, it's obviously going to be a harder hit for the show.
There are 3 anime that come to mind that I looked at more critically, just because of how. three anime for me that has come to mind in recent times that has led me to look at it closer, and that would be Clannad, Death Note, and Code Geass. And the dick writing definitely had me be more critical of it, but not cynical. The cynicism came after the fact that I saw all these flaws and wondering why the hell are they as popular as they are.
Yes.
Because then I can't relate to the audience that likes it anymore. That's where the cynicism starts kicking in.
Well, the worst part is when they start like attacking you and just generally being annoying about it because you don't have their opinion. That shit drives me up a fucking wall. Anyway, question 7 comes from Crash. This is the long one, I believe? Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay. It seems in most shows that are dramatic, they have characters whose parents have passed away. I know when this is used effectively, it can be quite impactful. But the more I watch, the more it seems that it's a cheap device to give the characters quote-unquote depth and something for us to feel bad for. Honestly, it's been losing impact for me for a while. It's frustrating to see this used over and over and over again. But this leads me to my question. How do you feel about this sort of device? Is it overplayed? And what, in your opinion, could be something to replace this to make characters feel more genuine? Holy crap, that is formatted terribly, JD.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was sleeping, okay?
No, of course you don't. Yeah.
He was still sleeping when he
I
did
did make
that.
the agenda 5 minutes before we started the podcast, so shut
Which
up.
was like
Yeah, you
10
did.
minutes after you woke up.
Yes,
Yes.
you did.
It's a nice little perfect storm.
Considering those facts, I think it turned out pretty well.
I mean, I made it work, so you're welcome, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't write it. The grammar's not my fault.
The grammar wasn't the problem. It's that I have to skip
I copied and
lines.
pasted.
Blame Discord. Anyway,
So I'll answer this question because I have all of the right answers.
just hang on before
the-
you answer it. Let's change like dead parents to absent parents. You know, so we can avoid parents on abroad on other countries and stuff like that, or missing parents, that kind of stuff, which is basically the same thing.
Parents that don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents that aren't there. Parents that are a part of the story, basically.
Of course, remember to talk about the traumatic experience, which usually is used on anime to make this kind of character, which is seeing the parents dying in front of them.
Batman. Got it.
Yes, pretty much.
JD,
I believe that this whole dead parent thing is definitely being overplayed now. Just watching older anime, it seems they don't use it. First of all, it wasn't until it wasn't until I think in the early 2000s it started to really come into play as a major character driving point, as just, hey, your character this character has dead parents, you should feel bad for him. There are a few instances where it's used the right way, such as the sports anime
Sports!
Major, the baseball one. He ends up having dead parents right away, and it's a major. I see what I did there by accident. It's part of his motivation towards the story, and it's not until the third season that it starts to, you kind of forget that actually happened. That's when it's used correctly, because now so much time has passed. Different things affect his life now. He's, after 15, 20 years, you still feel bad that your parents died, but you're kind of over it,
No, I don't have first-hand experience, but I can see what you're saying, yes.
Yeah. Like okay, my grandfather's been passed away for quite some time now. The initial hit was bad. Right now, I'm like, yeah, I miss him. I'm over it because people die. In terms of anime, how it's using it now, it's just whenever they go into just a backstory, it always seems to be two characters just talking to each other, and it's like, oh, well, my mom died at an early age, and this happened, so... Aww.
Yeah. I mean...
And that's as much as the character build that they do now.
Yeah.
It's terrible writing.
I agree, because it's like, I don't necessarily have a problem with, using dead parents as like a plot device, even though that is essentially what it is. But it kind of depends on how it's used, right? Because a lot of anime, they will use it as this shocking revelation where it's like, this is where you're supposed to feel bad for the character because guess what? Her parents are dead, right? So it becomes the top. Whereas I feel like what they should do is they need to kind of play off of that a bit more. Like they need to. I don't like when they use it as the like emotional point and as the emotional top where it's in terms of, for example, Clannad, when it's like, after all this time, when you realize that she's been sad and lonely, and then it's like, by the way, her parents died.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you, come on.
Yeah, it's like, really? That's how you're gonna get me? But at the same time, it's like, there are, of course, stories where it's like, oh, I don't have parents, or my parents died, and then it's like, you kind of play off of that, and you kind of try to humanize the character in question through, like, realizing that character's experience had not having, like, growing up without their parents, and basically there's a lot of ways you can spin it to still make it interesting. It's just the fact that most shows will not do that. They will just use dead parents as like the emotional high point, or as a lot of anime did, especially a couple of years ago, did it a lot, where it was just like, hey, I'm a student and I live by myself, and parents, what are parents? There are no parents. Feel bad for me. I have to fend for myself while going to high school. How terrible.
Stop me if I can.
I mean, we saw it in March Comes in Like a Lion, but
yes,
it was a major point to the character and story. That's when it's okay. You can't just all of a sudden, like Tori said with Clannad, just have, oh, well, my parents are dead. Feel bad for me. Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, like, it's annoying when it becomes the emotional high point every time. That's when it gets annoying.
It's definitely being overused.
Stop me if I get too cynical, but I think using well-defined tropes as a crutch for writing is just terrible. If you can't properly write characters, you should probably rethink if that character even needs to be in the story. Because if you need to rely on a trope like, her parents are dead, feel bad for her, then why? Like, you didn't put enough care into writing that character to give her a story. She's not a character, she's a walking trope.
Right.
Or she's just a hit piece for feelings, and that's stupid. That's fucking worthless.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have noticed a drastic downturn in the writing, because I'm doing a quest as well. Tori, when you get to 2010 after watching so much anime, you'll see a drastic decrease in the quality of writing and an increase in tropes. And honestly, on my quest, hitting 2010 has been a wall because it's so bad compared to the high point that was 2009.
You say that, the problem is just that my kind of 2010 shows and up are very much cherry-picked. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna hit the exact same wall you did, because there's a lot of shows that I'm pretty sure I will enjoy, and I should have watched already, but I just haven't, and this is kind of just an excuse to finally sit down and watch those shows. So yeah. I don't think I'm gonna hit that wall as hard as you did, but I'm sure I'm gonna notice stuff.
Yeah. I am speaking in generality. Like, not every anime after 2010 is bad. Of course, bad writing.
I don't really think you should. I don't really think you need to quantify that. That should be pretty obvious.
Hell, like in my quest, I didn't particularly like. Most shows I watched during the 70s, I didn't particularly care for. That doesn't mean every show from the 70s is bad.
Right.
Ashtano Joe was from the 70s.
Yeah.
Devilman's from the 70s.
Yeah, that was bad. So shut up.
Hey, come on. It's good. Devilman is fine.
Devilman is not even an adaptation of Devilman.
That's true. That's so true.
It's true.
Hurts.
It's true. Hickey, what is your answer to this question?
Is it overused? Yes, of course. I don't mind being used. The absent parents or the dead parents, I don't really mind it being used. What bothers me is kind of the opposite of what you guys are saying. When the guy, usually it's a guy, because that is used a lot in harem shows, for example, because the guy needs an excuse to leave alone. When it's used as an excuse for the person, for the character to leave alone for some reason, and it doesn't have any emotional impact.
Parents?
It's not like, oh,
No.
I have dead parents, please feel bad for me. It's not like, yeah, my parents are dead and I live alone. That's it. It's just a writing tool to make the guy living alone. Where you can have another other types of even tropes that would be better than killing off the the guy's parents just so he can live alone, or the girl's parents, so he can live alone. I think depending on how they reveal the dead parents in the emotional side, as you guys are saying, when it's just like, yeah, I have dead parents, I'm gonna cry a lot, and please feel bad for me. I think that's not good. When the parents the death of the parents are actually kind of almost developing on a crippling depression, which happens in your Sangatsu no Lion. He has kind of the part of the depression he feels is because of his soul, not only his parents but his little sister dead, and that was very impactful, and that consumes him. There are some shows who do that, and I appreciate that. If my father would die tomorrow, I don't think it would hit me at the moment. It would hit me 2-3 years after my father would die. And I think when a show can manage to show you that, I think it's impactful, and I think it's meaningful, and I think although it's a writing tool to make you feel bad for the main character or other characters, side character, whoever has the dead parents, it's still very impactful. It still resonates with you. It still makes you feel empathy, and I think that's important. When it's just a shallow tool, either to make you have this forced that's empathy forced to you, or having the person having no parents at home, whatever, I think it's bad. I think it's also disrespectful. The death isn't something you should be using like that. Even in literature, even in anime, death is something really, really important. It's something really serious, and it shouldn't be used so lightly, as we see sometimes. Everyone.
Well said.
Okay. The other part of the question
Well said, Hickey.
is, what in your opinion could be used to replace this, to make characters feel more genuine? Like I said, crippling depression. I think, like, you don't need to get the dead parents out of the anime. You just need a character who behaves like a human, who behaves like he misses someone. I know I lost my grandmother a while ago, but still, it's not my mother. Although I don't have a good relationship with my mother. If she were to die, I would feel bad. Even the opposite. Imagine if the character was abused by her father and suddenly he's dead, and she doesn't feel anything, but it's still, I don't know, she can't condemn the guy because he's dead, something like that. Having actually strong paternal figures, which in Japan is kind of rare right now, not only because of the birth rate is slowly going down, but
low.
yeah, it's very low, but the families in Japan, they are not very well structured anymore. People are very individualist, and we know about that. They're very free to do what they want, but usually the family doesn't talk too much, or when they talk, it's kind of imposing things. It's kind of a weird relationship. We need strong, like, if we had stronger parental figures in anime, I think it would be good. We wouldn't have to have dead parents every single time. If we had something like what happens with Hanekawa of Monogatari series, she has a very interesting relationship with her parents, quote unquote parents, and you feel bad for her, but you don't need someone to die for you to feel bad for her, to feel bad of her,
Right.
situation.
Well, even Hitagi, her parents are just divorced, just straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yes,
isn't that
and
correct,
it's
Senpai?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, a lot of Americans know what it's like for their parents to go through a divorce. Just as you said, Hickey, make them more human.
Well, yeah, the easiest answer is just make them older. If they have to live alone for the story, just make them older.
Yeah.
Make them in college or something. Why does it always have to be like an elementary school
Yeah,
student?
not only that,
That was one of the good parts. That was one of the strong parts about Golden Time. They were college students. They had to deal with adult problems.
Yeah, but
that
like,
was the entire
go.
crux of the story.
in Japan, it's
I don't want to deal with adult problems these days anymore.
in Japan it's very common for the kids to move out when they hit like middle school, sometimes high school, but sometimes middle school as well. So yeah, we can have that. The problem is that's also very overused. You know, if you want a character, you know, to feel empathy, either make them more believable. It doesn't need to make them human. I'm not watching anime because I want to see humans. I want to see believable beings in stories that sounds believable. Doesn't need to be very realistic. I don't know, make them crippled, for example. You know, make a guy who used to play basketball and he lost his arm. He can't play basketball anymore, but he goes to make another.
Are we gonna go into Clannad again?
No, but Clannad, he has like the problem. The guy straight up loses the arm, and you know, then he aims to become another like sports, make another sports like track and field, and go to the Paralympics. That would be amazing. There's no manga like that, you know. You don't really need.
But Hickey, that would require good writing.
Rainbow did that. Well, not quite, but they did. Main character did want to be a boxer when he was in jail, and then he met a couple of guys, and they fucking destroyed his hand, so he couldn't box anymore.
Awesome.
Cheetah no Joe kind of happened.
That too, but he wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, so you don't.
So then, how about we move on? Ayu has a question. You believe this guy?
No, let's skip him.
All right. What would you consider your prized possession? I assume he means anime prized possession.
Why does it have to be anime?
My entire collection of Berserk. Next.
Yeah,
I don't have a prized possession.
of anime. My collection of Deadman Wonderland. I guess. Anime stuff is very expensive.
The manga?
Yeah, the manga. It's very good. The anime is trash, but the manga is very good. Really, really, really good. Anime stuff is very expensive here, so I don't have a lot of things. It happens.
I guess mine would be the current 17 DVDs of One Piece that I have, plus 3 movies. It's like 490 episodes or something.
And you make fun of me for having 38 volumes of Berserk.
I do no such thing. I just say it's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My prize it was.
And what's funny is your individual manga volumes of Berserk is about the same price as a DVD of One Piece.
Yep.
My prized possession is my 76 volumes of Berserk because someone butchered the Brazilian version.
Welcome to Brazil. We're gonna have half Tonkoban volumes. Wait, hold on. Wait, why?
76 fucking volumes.
Yeah, my goal is to move into a house that I own and have a bookshelf much like the senpai over there, and just have everything on display.
That's all right.
In a nice little way. I'd like to do that.
I like my bookshelf. I need another one.
Sure you do.
I currently only have one complete manga series, and that's Pluto.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah, that's my only one that's complete. The other thing I've been doing, which is actually quite nice, is if an anime that I quite enjoy doesn't finish, but the manga does, I'll end up getting the manga and just having the manga from that point where the anime ends. So I'm doing that with like Great Teacher Onizuka, Batum. I've been doing that for quite some time.
You're helping the problem. That's why they end it in the middle of something good.
Well, I don't do it right away. Like GTO, that ended in the 90s. I'm pretty sure they're not going to make any more anime at this point, so I might as well just get the manga. Same thing with Ranma and Batum. I seriously doubt, because it sold like shit, is going to have any more anime
or an ending.
But they said that if the game did well, then they would make more. Maybe.
No, yeah, they said might.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they said they
no.
might, because
I took that as a nope.
I took that as a no as well. But everybody's like, "Oh my god, we're getting more Batum," and I'm like, "Yeah, no."
Negative, actually.
And I can't wait to start buying the Berserk manga. That's gonna be fun.
It'll be a lot easier than when I bought it. Because Dark Horse actually figured out how to fucking reprint, god damn it.
They figured out how the printer works again.
Yeah, no, what they figured out how to do is change the spine so it doesn't match anymore.
Oh, that is perfect.
Infuriating. I have fucking cobblestone steps for my Berserk manga.
So Ayu asked another question.
Oh my god.
God, he's just all over us. All right, have any of you watched the single episode of Children of Ether, and what did you think of it?
No.
Nope.
No.
Teki?
Nope. I have not.
Okay, I watched it, which is why it's finally on here, because he asked this like weeks ago.
I know.
It was very okay. I do like the art and character designs. It has a sense of uniqueness to it, being that it's from a Western studio. The plot, setting, character motivations, it's all very intriguing right now. It's only a single episode. I didn't think the first episode was all that impressive, but what we see going forward is very intriguing, and I will be continuing to watch it.
Yeah,
So that's my opinion over it.
It's in my Crunchyroll queue. I'm gonna watch it at some point. Guess not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a 15-minute episode, so it goes by pretty quick. It's about this woman who accidentally kills her father, and she has this weird power where she gets green eyes and some shit happens that we don't understand. And it's in this kind of Mad Maxy kind of world, so everything's there for an intriguing story. It was giving me kind of Fist of the North Star vibes without the batshit craziness.
So not
Without
Fist
the
of North Star
combination,
at all. Okay.
Well, the environment and kind of, well, I mean, Mad Max, and that's what Fist of the North Star is. It's in that kind of universe.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Post-nuclear war. Got it.
In 2010.
Yeah, it's post-apocalyptic, so of course it's pretty good.
Clearly the
Yeah,
best.
of course.
Clearly the best.
The breast.
Probably also going to rip off Soul Eater, right, Tori?
Of course, everything
The
does.
best.
Everything
The
is
best.
ripped off
The
Soul
best.
Eater.
The best. This is a fucking dumpster fire, this podcast.
Hey.
No,
So
it's
yes.
amazing.
Let's move on to question 10 then.
Question 10. Tori, you asked that one.
I didn't. Semibolt did.
No, you go over the question that Semi asked.
Strictly from an art perspective, what is your favorite show? So I'm going to take this from simply just background art, and I'm going to say, obviously, Akage no An. Because those backgrounds, they're beautiful, and I love it. And that show is fantastic, and I love it. And you should all watch it. And for those of you that don't know, Akage no An is Anne of Green Gables. So if you're from Canada, you probably read or seen or anything of that story. Many times. We should watch it again in anime form, because it's good.
Kuri.
Just the art.
Just.
Yeah, everything Gainax does. I miss that aesthetic so much.
Fate Zero. I don't have a lot of time to think about it. Hey, Fate Zero is pretty beautiful.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's beautiful. The scenes, the art, the animation, the digital works, the choreography, like the sparkles and particles, and Blu-ray. Oh my god! Yes.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I have a bootleg copy of Fate Zero from Germany. So.
Oh my god, JD.
What, you don't want to leverage your house to fucking buy it from Aniplex?
I do not. So I bought it from Germanplex.
Yeah, well, you're part of the problem, JD. God.
Yeah, I don't
need
want
to-
Aniplex to charge so much for anime.
You need to allow yourself to be ripped off.
Don't ya know?
Oh boy. And Fate Zero in German's pretty cool. even if it's fan dubbed.
9!
Oh my god.
Do TL notes still pop up?
Oh god.
Translator notes.
Oh, there's
Can't
even
copy
like
me
disclaimers in front. Yeah, it's really funny. I noticed I like if I watch something shoujo or josei, that the art is usually what stands out to me, and then it's so even something as simplistic as Nana, I thought had really good art, along with Escaflowne. That was really good art. It always seems to be shoujo and josei that I end up paying attention more to it, because Rose of Versailles, very artful, shoujo-esque.
Shoujo.
What one? So yeah, shoujo. One that comes to mind is Armored Trooper Votomes.
That's a good one.
Very, very nice art and mech designs. Everything's by hand. It's very much 80s mech. It looks so good. And nobody's watched that except maybe you and me, Senpai.
Yep.
And that
You'll be right.
huge community of fans that have seen it. But yeah, I guess.
Yeah, those don't.
I mean,
those
according to
aren't
my
there
anime,
anymore.
well, my anime list, it's one of the least watched shows of all time.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, it only has like I think 1,000 fans or 10.
Oh,
It's like nobody's seen it.
don't worry. People are too busy with their moe shit.
Yep.
I know why I am.
Because Golden Boy, which we're talking about today, has 135,000. Votomes, as I pull it up here, has 10,000.
Wow. That's a bit more
Yeah.
than 10, though, but yeah.
Yeah, 10,000.
It's like 1,000 times more.
Yeah, nobody's seen Votomes.
Good.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it needs to happen. Although it's up there with anime with the most WTF ending.
Cool.
Yeah.
Need to watch it then.
You know, an ending that just makes you go, What? That's not what I was watching earlier. You know, Berserk has that.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
It goes from medieval battles to demon rape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always been that.
Yeah.
No, you just didn't know it was always that.
That doesn't.
It's still what the fuck.
Hasn't even
No.
ended.
Well, the anime, come on. Stop pulling hairs. You guys suck.
No.
Make me sad.
Good.
No, move the goalpost, JD.
Move the goalpost.
Not moving the goalpost.
If he wants to do Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan, make JD move the goalpost.
Yes.
You can
of
find
course.
him at BowlingJD on Twitter, where you can harass him.
You have the power.
You have the power, fans. We don't. He won't listen to us.
Yeah.
So, Tori, you have a quest update? You've watched a few anime in between.
I did
Oh,
watch a few
trying to
anime
move on
between.
us, huh?
Yes, because now it's my time to shine. So yeah, no, basically in between.
All right,
I
John
did,
Cena, come on.
I did what I did what I thought I was going to do. Like I said, Queen Millennia came to an abrupt halt because there's no more episodes for me to watch. So I'll get back to that later when all the episodes are out. And so in the meantime, I watched Sayonara Galaxy Express 39, which is a movie from 1981. And basically just a continuation of the story from the series. And it was a bit of a shame to see that it was basically doing the same thing again. But I did enjoy seeing like the aftermath of the series when full scale like wars blown out and
Yep.
Tetsuro's part like has joined the resistance and he's fighting the mechanized people and it's just like forcing him having to get back to the 3-9 and get out into space and just it was interesting. And of course,
I liked his new character design too.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. It really, like I said, it makes sense as well because he has gotten older. So for him to look a bit different, that
you
is.
also watched.
I also watched Space Cobra
Yay!
and finished it. And what can I say? Space Cobra is a lot of dumb fun. It's basically, you want to watch the coolest guy in the universe, like just be cool and do a lot of awesome stuff and get all the women and Yeah, that is Space Cobra. And he's got a
James
gun
Bond.
built. He's got a gun built into his hand, a psycho gun that he uses. He uses mental energy to fire, and he can control it as he pleases. And Space Cobra is just pretty much the coolest guy. That is the story.
Is he cooler than Captain Harlock?
No one's cooler than Captain Harlock.
The problem
That is the correct answer.
The problem is I haven't seen Captain Harlock, so I would only base that off of watching Galaxy Express 389 and.
Captain Harlock bangs aliens for fun.
And Space Cobra doesn't.
Gets drunk with them.
And Space Cobra doesn't.
In that order.
And Space Cobra doesn't. Somebody needs to watch Space Cobra.
Those who have seen Captain Harlock and Space Cobra, who's the cooler guy?
Probably Captain Harlock.
Me and Senpai know the right answer.
Objectively.
Yeah, no. But I did enjoy Space Cobra. It was fun. It's not exactly it's not a show that you sit there and go down to deeply analyze the story. Hell, it's episodic. It doesn't really have much of a story.
Did after watching Space Cobra make you want to pick up cigar smoking?
Because I have smoked cigars? No.
Oh. Well, you need to go to Cuba.
Yeah,
get some of that.
Get some of the marijuana cigars.
No, I don't. I'm good.
I know what we need to do. We all need to go to Brazil and get some South American
drugs, yes.
cigars.
Cigar?
Yeah.
JD, I can't
You
go
can
to
have
Brazil.
straw cigars.
Hickey clearly needs
Hickey,
to
have
come
you
to
ever
us.
smoked a cigar?
Yes.
Quite some time.
You have?
Yes. I have a bunch of friends
Who smoke, so they smoke like I said, it's straw. I don't know if it's. I think it's sugarcane straw. It's a little cigar with that, a cigarette with that. I smoked a cigar on New Year's once. It wasn't a very good experience. I kept coughing for like 3 months.
Oh
But
God!
it was fun.
You're not
Right
supposed-
into my
On
lungs.
New
You
Year's-
don't
on New
inhale
Year's,
the
it was
cigars, alright?
On New Year's was fun, but I usually smoke
God.
like once a year. Since I was 18.
I smoke even less.
But I'm trying to not smoke because it's bad.
Good.
It's bad for your health.
Yeah. The closest I'm gonna ever get to smoking anything is just breathing the air in Toronto and Houston. It's called smog smoking.
Yeah.
Never go to
That would do
California,
it.
it's just full of smug.
Oh God. Yeah, if I move to California, it's just smug. Yep, exactly. Oh, we live on the left coast. We do everything better than you.
You mean the shitty one? Yeah, no thanks. I live where the air hurts my face, so I don't have to deal with natural disasters.
Look, man, as soon as I move to the East Coast, the only section of the United States I haven't lived in would be the left coast.
Yeah, keep it that way.
There's pretty much a good reason for that. So, are we on to our main topic now, guys?
We are.
Oh,
on
good,
to
it's
our
been
main
an
topic.
hour and 20 minutes. Awesome.
Hooray!
Yep.
Yay!
Let's go.
Yeah. The trash boy.
So, Senpai, you put out the word. You put out the word and had a vote, a community vote.
I sure
on
did.
this,
Discord vote.
correct?
Yes, I did. And by a wide margin, the winner was not what JD wrote here in this outline, but it is cynicism versus critique. Where's the line?
It's the same.
God damn it, JD.
So again,
It's not criticism versus critique.
no, it's not criticism versus criticism. It's cynicism versus critique. Where do you draw the line? This is the topic I came up with because no one answered me on Discord yesterday when I was trying to come up with topics.
Because I was sleeping.
Because, yeah, Tori was dead and Hickey's computer is, and JD was getting
I sent
slammed.
you something, but you asked again.
You wanna throw all that?
Yes, I did. So I'm not really sure how we're gonna play this one, honestly. I mean, I think I think critique kind of comes in when you're looking more objectively on a series, whereas cynicism's kind of like when your worldview affects how you look at a series. Like,
So okay. So you look at more along the lines of world. I look at it along the lines of. We can hit these one at a time, I suppose. After we go through what we look at it as, I see it as something that's mainstream and then you immediately hate something or start to hate something because everyone else likes it.
So
That's what I end up seeing cynicism as.
Okay.
In terms of anime.
Yeah. No, for me, like what I see cynicism as is essentially when you get to the point where it seems like when people talk about it or talk about a show or even in certain reviews, you see it seems like this can also just be down to like poor writing or whatnot. But like to me, it always seems like when any and all flaws will heavily outweigh any and all positives. Meaning they could literally sit there and talk about a show and it's like let's say 10 positives and 2 negatives, and yet for some reason it's a 3, right? And it's like I hated the show because the taillight on the train looked kind of weird, right? It's like, well, why does that like ruin everything else? Right? That's what's like, because to me that's like, it can, like I said, that can also be poor writing, but to me that immediately becomes like like every flaw you spot heavily outweigh any positive you can find, and I don't get that.
Yeah, well,
then there's also the other way around, where too many positives then become you ignore the negative.
Yeah, but that's then you're a pleb.
Well, then you're a pleb.
Well, then you're doing neither. You're neither being critical or cynical.
You're just accepting everything essentially as one, just like kind of me early on, where it was just, but why look at stuff critically so much? Why not just try to enjoy it?
Because enjoying it burns you out.
I know.
That's
the me of the past.
Just look at
stuff
the.
changed.
Well, just look at the new Berserk that doesn't actually exist because it's so bad.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, how can we look at something that isn't real?
yeah.
Yeah, look at that TQ advertisement.
Yeah, TQ's good though. Everybody should watch TQ.
Yeah, nah.
Nah, go watch I My Me.
Or
it's a better
look at...
TQ.
That is a lie. He hasn't even seen TQ. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I watched one episode.
Right
It wasn't
now
off.
Watch Azumanga Daioh. It's like TQ, but not shit.
No, it's not. It's not like TQ.
A great example from this season would be the criticism of The Reflection.
Ah, speaking of that, I dropped that show.
Did you?
Yeah.
God fucking damn.
Is it now the where the cynicism is coming from is just because of how it looks,
Yep.
You know,
and that's then ignoring everything else the show has.
So
Tori, why did you end up dropping it? Is it just because you're not into the story at all, the show?
I'm not into the story. I basically, like I've said, I don't think it's a bad show, but I can't, like, I've never thought the show has been better than average. It just feels like a painfully average show to me. And quite frankly, I'm bored watching every episode. So I tried watching the latest episode, and kind of just during the recap of everything, I kind of just bowed out. I was like, you know what? No. I don't
it's
care.
a recap episode?
No, it's not
No,
a
it's
recap
not.
episode. At least I don't think. But they start every episode with like recap, or like they start recapping the previous events, and I'm sitting there and I go through like, okay, this is what they did last episode. And I realize like I'm barely even paying attention anymore.
so
I'm like,
okay,
you know what?
okay,
That's it.
so that bothers you, but they could say in every single episode that his story is the story of how he became the greatest hero of all, and then entering like recap doesn't bother you because Boku no Hero Academia is the
read the
best
manga, I
thing
don't
in
watch
this
it.
show. Sure.
Oh, Boku no Hero. The recaps in Boku no Hero Academia.
They recap in
Oh,
Boku no
it's
Hero
okay.
Academia.
Recap. Not every episode.
Every single beginning of the episode, they do a recap.
Then I
That's
apparently
just the
skipped
opening
that. Then I
sequence,
apparently
yeah.
skipped that every single time because I do not remember that.
This is how I became the
world's
world's greatest hero.
of all. Yes, and then and then the recap.
I don't have
Previously
a.
on My Hero
Oh, look at
Academia.
that.
Previously on Dragon
Brief.
Ball Z.
Yeah, you just skip those.
Well, that's what I do.
I think we should start from the very base with cynicism. Like I don't know how to translate that in anime, but I know a little bit of philosophy. I think that was kind of established on the Lane podcast. But cynicism is a philosophy. It's a way of life, kind of. It's from ancient Greek, and basically the guy who thought of the cynicism said that for you to have a happy life, you should have a simple and natural life. And by doing that, how would you achieve that? You would achieve that by having like, I don't know how to translate this word, but still, don't like in going against the social conventions, doesn't have any kind of richness, living in poverty, not socializing, and he always said that you should aim to live and behave like a dog. I'm not saying that you should go out peeing on poles and licking your own balls. I'm saying that dogs, they are
Don't
free.
be a furry.
They sleep when they want to sleep. They do what they want to do. They survive. They have a simple life, a natural life, and yet they seem very happy with anything that happens around. For some reason, this word lost the meaning during the centuries, and now it's kind of going against the social conventions. That's it. It's not about having a simple life, but being the kind of the opposite guy. You go against what people think it's common, what people think it's normal, and it's not quite criticizing it, but because when you criticize something, it's kind of wanting to meet a better outcome than the one you currently have. It's more about being the opposition when you're cynical or not believing in the social conventions. A good example of that is the fact that I don't give 10s or 1s to shows because I don't believe in the social convention that has shows that are worth a number 10, and I don't believe there are shows that are number 1. That is a cynical attitude of me. Although most of the time I have a critical analysis of shows. Just a little example.
So you're living you see cynicism as a philosophical view instead of the contemporary view that people see it today and use it.
Yeah, I mean I can see how people use it, but it kind of feels incomplete without the look. We're doing everything like that to have a more happy life. A cynical, by the philosophical meaning, would be the person who says, look, I just want to enjoy anime. I just want to enjoy anime by the simple fact of enjoying anime. They are going against the conventions. They are going against the community who wants you to talk about the shows and, be critical about it and just say, look, I just want to be happy and enjoy what I enjoy. This is cynicism by the philosophical point of view.
Yeah, you're just living your life essentially. That's the old Greek term, I believe.
Yes.
I took philosophy in Germany, and that's where I learned a lot of this. There was a whole topic over cynicism.
My definition of cynical or cynicism is the more contemporary term: bitterly or sneeringly distrustful, contemptuous, pessimistic. That seems to be what it's kind of molded into in today's scheme of things.
Oh yeah, it's more of a as you say, your kind of state of mind to it rather than your way of life. So it's went from how you live to how you think.
Exactly, and when I say because I'm cynical by nature in that term, but that's why I try to weigh them out, like when I'm being critical and when I'm just kind of bashing on a show because I didn't like a thing and it stuck with me that I hated it. We have shows like ReZero where I watched 6 episodes and 3 of them I enjoyed. Actually, I wound up watching all of that because I got halfway through and then someone.
Well, you got hounded for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for months. So
people were very cynical towards you for not liking what they like.
For about 6 episodes, I liked the show, which is where the 6 came from. For about 8, I didn't like it, but because I liked the first 6, I kept going. And then I dropped it at that point. And that, for me, was me being critical of a series I didn't like that much. So I dropped it. Everyone hounds me. Now when I go back into the series, I'm cynical. My mindset now is, fuck you, impress me.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do about that anymore. But that's kind of where my line is. Like, if I'm being critical, it's just, I don't like this. This is why I think they should do this instead. Something like that. Me being cynical is, nah, fuck that. That sucked. That needs to do better. And not offering anything, offering just absolutely nothing in regards to how to fix it, why you think that way. It's kind of just that standoffish, no, this is bad, would be cynicism.
Yeah, I used to be very much like that until I had my life-changing move to Germany, and that's where I started looking at things a lot differently. And in terms of cynicism, it would definitely be then looking at something, is it worth my time? That's how I look at something now. And in terms of anime, I know let's take this season for example. There's some shows that everybody's liking, such as New Game.
Yeah.
Is it something that is going to be worth my time though for my what I like? No. So that would be a cynical way to look at it. Cuz now but then there's something like Recreators where everyone's liking it, but they're looking at somehow this show has gone from the best thing to now people are just going, well, you should just enjoy it. And that's what that's how Hickey watches a lot of shows, is just live in the moment kind of thing.
Well, the problem with Recreators is they're actively ignoring faults that you're bringing up, and that's what drives you into being that cynical douche in the situation, essentially. If I could stop stuttering.
Nah.
Yeah, if you're trying to have a discussion and then everyone's hounding you because you're bringing up things that they're not seeing, yes, you're gonna be cynical towards people, because then you're like, well, you're just ignoring the flaws. It's like New Berserk. Oh, well, if you ignore the fact that it's shitty, it's great.
If you ignore the fact
that it doesn't exist.
If you ignore the fact that it doesn't exist, it's the best thing ever. Never made? Question mark. No, I.
And there was a long period of that anime where I kept, for some reason, my state of mind was, oh, come on, it's not that bad. The story's still really good. Well, yeah, because it's Berserk.
Well, yeah, it's Berserk's story. But, like, of course it's still fine.
And then, like, Tori, where his answer earlier from a previous question on this podcast, I was watching this anime, it was really bad, then I ended up liking it, and then, oh yeah, it's actually bad. What was I thinking?
Yeah, that realization moment where you're just like, oh, wait.
It's almost like when I was watching it, I didn't want to admit that it was bad because it was Berserk.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's where it's like, I feel like, talking about like hype and whatnot, you can kind of get that like in the reverse effect as well. You have something like Berserk, and there's kind of like, Berserk has a strong story and whatnot. You're kind of like, I need to like this, not because you need to like it, but it's like, this is my thing. This is what I enjoy. I need to like this thing. But then you kind of reevaluate your situation. It's like, that still doesn't make the fact that the anime is of Berserk, the 2016 and 2017 versions, are not good.
Like this. It's horrible.
Yeah,
like, I can I feel like I should like this because I'm probably not going to get anything else other than this.
Yeah, that's a sad way.
And it's like, and you look at that, it's because Berserk. I mean, I haven't read Berserk, but I know Berserk is supposed to have a very strong story and strong art. But it's like you're sitting there going like, essentially the argument for Berserk would be, well, the manga has a really good story, but again, that argument, at least to my mind, doesn't matter when it comes to the anime. The manga is irrelevant. The manga has nothing to do with the anme in this case, apart from it being an adaptation of it. But like,
the anime also has a really good story, but that's the problem. It's so poorly executed and done.
You can't solve it by basically saying, like, the common answer is like, well, see, if you read the manga, then you would know that they did this. It was like, but that is irrelevant for the anime. They didn't do that in the anime. Right? So it's like, the manga doesn't save, or the source material doesn't really save an anime. Just like an anime can't save its source material.
It's like the problem Hickey had with My Hero Academia that we were talking about, I think, a week ago. Where he said, what was it, Hickey? That they were happening, all those fights were happening individually, whereas in the manga they all happened at the same time.
Yeah, and then
in the manga they were simultaneous.
Yeah, and it's a problem because, again,
in the last episode you had Midoriya just narrating the fights. Um, you know, and because I talk like that, and I truly thought that episode 34 and episode 35, I don't I enjoy the anime, but I'm not a huge fan. I was convinced to go read the manga because those 2 episodes were fairly disappointed. And I'm talking about someone who doesn't have any expectation on the show. You know, I'm being cynical right there. I'm going against the social convention that Boku no Hero Academia is one of the greatest shows that happened. It's the best show continuing from winter to what? No, from spring to summer season. I'm going against that. I'm being cynical on that point, and as someone who wanted to enjoy that, was very disappointed. And I was convinced to, read the manga because the manga does something different. So the source material is not very important to anime. It's you should. I mean, I'm not being cynical when it comes to anime. It's kind of important. Not the modern way of think of cynical, but the philosophical way, the Greek meaning of the word. Because if of course it depends a lot, but especially shows that has a lot of that have a lot of hype behind. Shows with hype, you need to be cynical about them, because the social convention around that show is that it will be the best show of all. Sometimes this will get into the criticism. The guy who will be criticizing the show will be so engulfed by the social hive mind that show is the best show that ever happened. It's the second come of Christ. That it will sometimes kill or affect the critic behind it.
And that's actually why I don't like discussing releasing things on sites like 4chan, Reddit, forums, because everyone's basically just circle jerking in their little echo chamber. Everyone only talks about what they like because people who don't like it aren't going to waste their time on it. That's why it was so interesting to see JD on a forum watching something he didn't like, talking to a room full of people who absolutely loved it. I mean, granted, that was basically put to a stop, but it was just an interesting thing to see.
Time.
Yeah, just someone who disagrees.
It wasn't the only show either.
Someone who disagrees getting into the hive mind and just kind of disrupting the circle jerk and seeing how mad and frustrated people got over things that were basically nothing. Things that shouldn't have been a problem were all of a sudden a problem because you didn't agree with what they thought the accepted convention was.
Well, I've also noticed it's not just the anime community. I also do the same thing with video games. I'm a lot more forgiving in terms of video games, but it's a totally different medium. Here's a good example.
Well, video games are more open source. Like, you can do what you want more in them. You have to watch an anime, and what the director wants you to do is what you have to do the whole time.
But this is where I was going with this. Destiny, a gaming franchise, the new one just came out. I am in no means interested in Destiny 2. I actually can't stand that type of game, especially when the new one is getting such high praise and it looks like a blatant ripoff of another gaming franchise called Mass Effect.
It looks like ass?
So not the newest one, okay. Like Mass Effect 1 and 2. So whenever I bring up these instances, we're like, well, you're just a hater. Like, no, you can't ignore flaws. You can still like it. I don't care if you like it, but I need you to admit something that is plainly there and obvious. And whenever I go back, okay, how about this? People are always are afraid to watch shows that they grew up with, sometimes because they have so much nostalgia for it. Let's take Pokemon, Power Rangers.
We can
Sailor
take
Moon.
Sailor Moon.
And-
We can take
and
Sailor Moon and talk about
Sailor
Moon.
Moon's a great example. Fuck, we had some fan mail over Sailor Moon, and some of
we
it was
did.
hilarious.
Should we read it? Should we
Oh
read
my
it
god!
up? Should we read it on the podcast? That'd be fun.
My
wouldn't it?
god! One of them was very important. You must read, and then I open it up, and it's just, you guys suck. Sailor Moon is awesome. What was that?
You thought we weren't going to read it?
It was beautiful. That was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was very
and
fun.
people got a lot of hate mail from it, just with single line emails with just Sailor Moon was part of my childhood. How could you hate that? It's like, we're not attacking you. We were just talking about the show and making fun of some things like incest.
I didn't
You
hate the
said
show. I
something.
said that
Your
in
fault.
the end, and that was fine. Like, we never said we hated the show. I think we all said, dude, we
recommended
like
people
the
watch
show,
it.
but unfortunately, it's not that good. Well, I said that, okay.
Words in my mouth, AK.
Yeah,
you said it, but
Sailor
the words in
Sailor
my
Moon
mouth.
was a big part of my childhood, and with a friend of mine. And I went back and watched it. This is the second time I've watched it now, and I even watched a remake of it. And it's not as good as I thought it was. Ronin Warriors is another great example of taking off nostalgia glasses. That show sucks. Like, wow.
But Samurai Pizza Cats, though.
We should definitely watch that.
I mean, hell, when I went back, like I went back and watched Pokemon originally. I felt nostalgic, and I wanted to rewatch the original Pokemon series, the first season. And I'm sitting there going, "Wow, this show was way worse than I remember it being."
But Dan, when you were 5 years old,
I know, but I do not
thumbs
like
up.
Pokemon now at all. I think it's really bad. And the same thing, I don't think that is really bad, but it's like, I remember, like, growing up, I was not a Pokemon guy. I was a Digimon guy. Digimon was my shit. I loved that. Digimon
poor soul.
Adventures. I thought that was fantastic. And I went back, and I look at it now, and I go, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. But it is definitely not what I remember it to be. Even scenes that I remember hit me hard when I was a kid, I go back and look at it now, I'm like, this is, like, this scene, I remember this scene. I remember it very plainly in my head. However, at the same time, the way it plays out versus how it plays out in my head is also very different. But every single line, that was kind of the scary part. I remembered what they were talking about, and I watched this in Japanese. And I could remember, like, oh, he's going to say this now. And he did. And I'm like, wow, I remember a lot about this show.
yeah. So your criticism over the show increases, but then yeah, and there's so many people now that still have that nostalgia for, let's say, Pokemon, and won't admit that it's not as good as you remember.
Of course.
Or they'll
this was
just
your
downright
childhood.
refuse to see it over again, because then they're afraid that they're gonna hurt on their own childhood.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to fucking forget that you enjoyed a show. That's
Yeah, exactly.
just ignorant and childish. You don't need to forget
Like-
that you enjoyed a show just because you were younger.
I definitely enjoyed Ronin Warriors as a kid. I definitely enjoyed
I
it.
definitely enjoyed Gundam Wing when I was 13.
I mean,
Hooray!
you can kind of look at it this way.
Looking back at it
I mean-
now, it's a fucking dumpster fire. That doesn't mean I didn't like it.
You could not be more wrong.
Like
yes,
they always say.
Oh yeah, you're right.
like
I
they
didn't
always
like
say,
it back
though.
in the day.
Yeah, but like they always say, right? There's a time and a place for everything. You can, like, there's a time to watch something, and I'm sure you could probably pick a shit ton of shows that you have watched, even recently, that you can just go and think to yourself, like, if I watched this when I was like 13, this would be my jam. Like this, I would love this show. Me at 13 would love this show.
Like Mirai
Me
Nikki.
now does not like it. Yeah, basically, right? It's like there's a lot of because, like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. There's a lot of cases where you'll watch a show and you don't like it, and you could literally chalk that down to you're not part of the audience anymore. You're not part of the demographic. You've grown out of that. You're older. You're wiser. You look for different things. You want different things in a show. You want different things in entertainment or whatever. Right? So there's a lot of ways to look at it. But essentially, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, if you watch something now that you liked as a kid and you're afraid that you're not going to like it anymore, it doesn't really matter. So what if you don't like it? That doesn't all of a sudden, like, invalidate your opinion as a kid. It's just that, you were a kid at the time. You looked at stuff differently. You didn't exactly... I doubt that, the 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old you went into show looking at this, like, fucking hyper-analyzing this show to figure every last detail of what made this show tick.
13-year-old
You were just sitting
JD
there.
absolutely would not love Three Gatsu no Lion. I know it.
Oh, yeah.
I know he wouldn't.
Oh no, 13-year-old me would hate that
But
show.
27-year-old you
like,
fucking loves it.
the 16-year-old probably wouldn't be able to mentally handle March Comes In Like a Lion with what I went through around that age. 16, 17, 18?
Yep.
Because I fully admit, like, I relate to that character way too close. And if I had watched this show 10 years ago and was going through so many of those similar things, and I probably wouldn't have been able to. I could hardly mentally handle the show now because of so much memories and whether it was painful or happy, just it was too emotional at times. I couldn't watch more than 2 episodes in a row just because of something like that. So if I had watched that at 13, wouldn't have been able to understand it. 17, 18, wouldn't be able to even handle it. I'm almost positive that's how it would have happened. The other thing about cynicism, just in the way you mentioned, going against the grain and watching something you hate and writing about it and trying to get a discussion. It just continued on that aspect of it. I'm not sure when this happened, but it's definitely recently where now people in society seem to see it as a personal attack on themselves when someone disagrees with you.
Yeah. Apparently, everything became a argumento ad hominem, which is very fun. If you don't know what this is when you attack someone by liking something or defending something. You don't have an argument against his opinion, so you just attack the person. It's something dumb.
Oh, ad hominem.
Yeah. It's not ad
Yeah.
hominem.
Yeah.
It's the full name is argumentum ad hominem, which is argumentum would be opinion. Let's put it as opinion. Opinion over the man. Basically you're jumping to the man. You're ignoring his opinion and going against him. It happens a lot. Of course, it happens a lot. It happens a lot in politics. You see a lot in politics. But apparently, for some reason, everything is becoming that. I don't know why. I know
Well, it's
that.
like straw manning.
Yeah, something I want to point out is that we started this discussion as criticism versus cynicism. But it's important to point out, and I don't know if you guys realized, is that they are not opposites. They're not sides of the same coin or the same metal. They are sometimes they even complement themselves. I think nowadays a cynicism, being cynical is kind of a state of mind when you go watch something, and criticism is something way different. Like you can watch a show, you can see a bunch of flaws, but you don't say that to anyone. You're not being critic. You're not, making criticism. Criticism isn't working. Criticism happens in a dialogue. When cynicism can happen like without anyone, you alone. So it's kind of a state of mind. While criticism is something way different. It's not even the same nature as cynicism. And I don't know. Sometimes people also forget about it. Start kind of mistaking one for another. And
well, here's something interesting. I just want to throw out there. Hickey, you are right on topic. I think this might be the first thing we 100% agree on.
hey, now go.
Yeah, it only took 8 episodes.
Go watch Maho Guru, man.
Just before Hick is getting kicked off the podcast, I agree.
Yeah.
We're taking this podcast in a different direction.
I'm not in the next one anyway.
We're getting an Australian and an African. We just can't handle South America anymore.
South African, clearly.
Yeah, you need another soft guy. Okay, you understand.
So a little linguistics here I thought would be fun, just so we can all collect our thoughts. The word and use of cynicism over time saw a massive spike in the 1850s to the 1950s. So a lot more individualistic thinking. Is individualistic a word? Who cares? Anyways. And then in the 50s to about now, it's kind of flatlined, and it's actually increasing in the last 10 years because, at least what I think, is people are now going against the grain of society more. You know, that whole emo phase, you might say. Huh?
Emo.
And then just for fun, I've also written down, all in our native languages, what cynicism translates to. So in Portuguese, let's see if I can pronounce this right. Cinismo?
Almost.
Almost, okay. What's the right way?
Cynismo.
Cynismo, okay. You pronounce the S with a Z, much like the German. German, cynismos. So it's Zynnismus. And then Norwegian, this is going to be tough. Kinisma.
Oh, not so bad.
Yeah, no. Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all, because it's Knism.
I thought it would be
the way you would pronounce that.
Go on, Toddy.
The way you pronounce that'd be Shinisma.
Oh, that's right. It is S.
Yeah.
The K. Yeah, the KY is an SH. Yeah,
I thought it would be
Shinisma?
like the memes.
Yep.
Like, because German and German, English, and Portuguese is kind of the same thing, and then you go to Norwegian, it's something big and weird.
Well, it's like
you said, oh, it's
spelling
gonna be tough.
the
It's
second
like, oh,
half of
shit,
the word.
He's coming a big word.
Well, the second half of the word is almost identical to German, but instead of ZY, it's KY. So it just has that inflection that's different at the beginning. I am gonna order a pizza because I'm starving. You guys continue here.
What the hell is
All
that?
right, wow. Fucking throwing
that?
everyone under the bus, Jay.
Holy shit! Okay, in English you say it's cynicism. There you go, everybody. Holy shit! Anyway, I guess we should start talking about critique since we've been on this for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, sure.
What do I put on this pizza here?
Hawaiian.
Okay, let me start.
Fuck you.
Remember, JD, just
You put sauce on it.
you didn't put pineapple in your pizza, right? Because that's
You better
disgusting.
put pineapple on your
Whoa.
fucking pizza.
So, are you gonna be cynical towards me or critique me if I
I'm gonna be
if I
cynical
put
as
pineapples
hell.
on this
Wait.
pizza?
I'm gonna be cynical.
going-
I'm gonna attack you in every possible way.
Yeah, I'm going full R dominant on you. No,
Just remember, they attack me for the same reason. But I don't give a shit.
I'll crucify
Nah,
you.
like I've said.
Anyway,
Oh no, ham,
Like
bacon, pineapple, and hot sauce. Oh Jesus Christ, the world's gonna
Like
end.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've reached enlightenment. I've come to a new consensus. I don't care if you put pineapple on your pizza. I have a problem with people that don't have sauce on their pizza.
Okay, that's a fucking
Sammy.
issue.
this
Can't
podcast
accept
is
that.
doing so good that we're talking about pizzas and fuck
I
the
know.
topic. Yeah,
Hey, it's relevant. This is
guys, do you see that train coming the same direction as ours? I think we're gonna crash. Anyway, critique is
This is
something
the worst.
very important. It's something that it's kind of being forgotten. It's been away for a while now. But criticism or critique, it's something very important for human life. We are here today talking over the internet with people around the world because of critique and criticism. Because someone asked why, because someone had a problem with something, and someone thought that something should be different. Same goes with every single thing in our lives. From the simplest thing to the most complicated ones. And sure, anime as well, entertainment as well. You need to ask the whys. You need to ask yourself and ask other people why. Why something like that? Why they did something like that? Why they used that trope? Why they didn't use that trope? Why the show is popular? Why the show is not popular? This is what makes the world makes the world move. It always it always did. It will always be. But for some reason, people are chucking down this guy is just a cynical man and he doesn't believe anything, and kind of paints the criticism as cynicism. Which, again, cynicism, you don't really need it, but criticism is something that you need in your life to keep going, keep pushing forward.
I think a lot of that problem that you're seeing where people are kind of conflating cynicism with criticism is because in English we have a saying. It's everyone's a critic, and what the connotation is everyone's just being mean because they don't like something, or everyone's picking me apart because they don't like a thing. But it's what it really should be is everyone's a cynic, because that's what they're referring to, as opposed to criticism, which doesn't have to be bad. It's constructive criticism is a thing. Everyone who's in an artistic field should want constructive criticism. You don't get better from everyone sucking your balls. You get better because people say, hey, you should have done this. You could have done this better. And if you don't have that dialogue with people, or if you refuse to have that dialogue, evolution won't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's kind of interesting because, like, Hickey talking about critique, like, and how that has helped us move forward. One thing that I find kind of interesting, and I see this in a lot of people, and that is, you find a lot of people are actually afraid of change. You can even see this in like sayings such as, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And that often comes, people tend to prefer having a way, even if it's not good, but having stuff that they know, as opposed to having that change to something they don't know. Will it be better or will it not? Will stuff improve? So I think kind of that also plays into that. People hear you say something bad, you're trying to like break down a show, and they won't have it, right? Because they don't want to hear about that. They think, like, they essentially think that you're just being cynical. Like, why do you want to challenge the way stuff is now? Like, why do you want to challenge this? I don't want this to change. I know what this is. This is how things are now, and I want it to stay like that. Don't move that. Don't change that.
And that's kind of funny, talking about that, because cynicism, you don't ask questions. So it's kind of fun to paint criticism where, yes, you want something to change. Both of them, you want something to change.
Did we just lose Hickey?
I believe.
I think we did.
That's not the point.
Wow.
I think.
So you guys ready to?
What?
We lost Hickey there for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's still talking.
Yeah,
so
I'm still talking.
He's still
yeah,
recording.
don't worry about it. It's because someone called me. I had a phone call, but I rejected anyway. It's interesting. What I was saying is that criticism and cynical, both of them, they kind of look similar. But again, cynicism, you don't really need it. And cynicism doesn't ask why, doesn't ask questions, doesn't go around people saying, look, you should look at it at this way, or why this happened, why did you like this, care to explain to me? No, they don't care about it. When you're being cynical, of course, like I said, in the Greek one, and like in modern days, every single person, every single country in the world, every single language has a version of what means to be cynical and what's to be critic. A critic, for example, in my country, being cynical is saying you don't have morals. It's the same of not having morals. Someone who doesn't have morals, who doesn't have any prudency. Like, you can go around on public running naked because you defined moral, something like that. It's being false, that kind of stuff. Which is, again, it's not the I think it's not the right thing, but it's how we see that. But anyway, criticism. But so it's fun when you say, oh, they paint you as a critic, as a cynic, when you're criticizing a show. Because again, cynicism, you don't need to ask why. And then they just say, why are you asking those questions? You're just being cynical. You don't need those questions. And thus you're saying bad things about the show, which is not the case. But because they paint you as something else, which in this something else, it's not of the nature of this thing to ask those questions, you are you are usually painted as the bad guy or the guy who goes against it or is pointing out things that it shouldn't be pointed out. That kind of stuff. Everyone know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys ready to critique my my pizza choices here?
Does it have
Yeah, I
pineapple
guess so.
on it?
It fucking better.
So I got a deal where it's 2 medium pizzas for $10 each.
All right.
For my first pizza is hot banana peppers, Italian ham with chili peppers on top, thick crust with a 4-cheese base. Well done. Okay. Now this is not so bad, right?
Did you say banana?
Okay. The second one is going to make you guys question my sanity. I'm doing Italian blend seasoning, thick crust, extra sauce on the bottom, olive oil, Kalamata olives, and anchovies.
That's not weird.
No?
No.
I don't know.
That's an Italian style pizza. How the fuck is that weird?
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't like these things, so...
So?
Yeah.
You're not me, man.
You know
if
what?
you like it, I don't give a shit.
If you're listening to the podcast, would you rather I had pineapples on my pizza, or is anchovies even more weird?
Anchovies to me is good, but then that always brings up the question: why don't you just have salt on it? It gives you the same effect. Like, come on.
We're literally literally in the middle of a podcast talking about cynicism versus critique, and you ask us to critique a food that we're not going to eat ourselves. We don't care what you fucking eat.
Yeah, I don't even think I can.
It is relevant to the question.
Kind of
I know.
I think I should also get some jalapeno poppers.
Yes, my boy, you are from Texas.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to do that.
Get some jalapenos.
Oh, yeah. Not getting enough spicy things as it is.
Get plenty of spicy memes, you know that. Anyway, back on topic, Hickey, as you were saying, please.
I finished what I was saying.
Tori.
All right, then.
But unfortunately, because of JD, no one remembers anything because we're talking about pizzas.
Okay, fuck it.
No, everyone remembers everything.
Yeah,
My
sure.
question is it about time that we move on to Golden Boy?
Yeah, I
Ooh,
guess
Or are
so.
we gonna keep hitting on this?
I don't think we've actually hit any topic that we were trying to do, but yeah, I guess we
Probably
could go
not.
through
Okay.
this. Let's go to Golden Boy.
Hang on. Criticism and cynicism are different things. Cynicism is a state of mind. Criticism is a behavior. Cynicism you don't really need. Criticism you actually need in your life. If you are not being critical, that doesn't mean a lot of things. It's the same about having information and having true knowledge. Knowledge is something that is you go around teaching people. When you teach, that's when you achieve knowledge, and if you don't do that, it's just information. The same goes with criticism and watching things without asking yourself and other people questions. But oftentimes, in modern times, because of the change in the way of cynicism, is thought of the meaning behind the word cynicism. A lot of people kind of mistake criticism with cynicism and start painting the criticism as cynicism. Because of that, they often goes to the ad hominem state of arguments, and what they do is since they are painting you as something that doesn't ask questions, that's just there to defy what they like, they kind of start repressing you for that, when that's not the case.
They paint you as holding a position you do not hold.
Yeah, which is not the case. And because of that, it kind of start entering the hive mind that is anime community. We are all part of that in different stages. We are all part of a hive mind, or part of the hive mind. Because of that, it start changing the meanings again, and then I'm start to go into semantics and fucking how to study the words and history of words, and we are not have time about that. If you want to know about this, hit me.
Hit Hickey, yes.
Yeah,
hit
hit me outside of the fucking podcast.
And how is he to hit you?
Understand that.
How are the people to hit you, Hickey? Is it through Discord? Is it through Twitter?
Discord. You can find me on my anime list, and we can discuss how history of the words and philosophy works.
And politics and fucking laws and
And laws,
go
yes,
and,
and laws.
I'm gonna go ahead and kind of disagree with Hickey, but not really. I think, like, if you were
That's very cynical of you.
if you were to equate cynicism and critique as like people, they're not twins. They're not sides of the same coin, but they're friends. They're friends that live across town from each other, but one does lead to the other. If you're cynical, you will start to critique things. You'll critique them harder than they deserve, but you will start to critique things. If you start critiquing things and people start berating you for it, you will become cynical about your opinion. That's kind of just how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good talk.
Time for Golden Boy.
What? Yeah. I think we should talk about Golden Boy Tori. My pizza is
do
ordered,
too.
so I'm totally ready.
Oh, good.
Cool.
You're not going to order another one?
Or 5 more? Actually, JD, when you're on it, can you order me a pizza?
I don't think it delivers to.
That's a problem.
Who'd you get it from?
Hickey, Hickey, what the hell? JD, that is fine. You can.
You can send me the fucking money through PayPal, and I can buy my pizza.
Yeah.
You heard it
Yeah,
here.
no, that is fine, JD. You can go to a lot of Norwegian like pizza sites, and they have their menus and stuff written in English. You can just go there and order one to my address, and it's fine. Don't worry
Man,
about it.
I can read and speak German fluently. I'm totally cool with reading Norwegian. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's probably just it's not written in
Pretty
German.
sure.
I'll be
You know
alright.
what? You know what? 2019, I might be coming to Norway.
I hope you do.
I thought we were coming
Maybe I'll come in
Job
2018.
in 2019.
Job first.
I can go to both. I can be cynical in Brazil too.
Damn, you have a lot of money
not in the
for
Brazilian
someone
way.
who just lost the job.
Oh shit, son.
True.
Throwing them
Oh,
haymakers.
That's
That's right.
That's a deep dig.
And the fun, Golden Boy. Let's talk about more fun.
Yeah.
Someone drop us a synopsis of Golden Boy.
Does
All right,
anybody
I'll
have
do
a
it.
synopsis?
I'll do it.
Everyone, keep
I
entertaining
have-
the listeners.
I have the mallet.
I'm
That's cool.
juggling. It's fine. I'm juggling.
Kentaro Oe is a specialist in part-time work, riding all over the highways and byways of Japan on his trusty steed. It's his bicycle. Finding employment wherever he can. His adventures bring him knowledge and experience that can't be taught in a classroom, from political corruption to the delicacy of a young woman's heart. With nothing but the open road before him, not to mention the many beautiful women along the way. Kentaro pursues his spirit of education while attempting to hold down his various odd jobs, however undignified they may be. As he learns from each task he takes on, who knows what could happen. He might even be able to save the world one day. One thing is for sure, this will all be very educational!
Thank you.
It is a 6-episode OVA series that aired in 1995, and Toonami for all those, or no, it was Adult Swim, for all those Americans who watched it at the time. It's from Studio APPP, which I've never heard of until just now.
They did stuff.
They did, they did the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVAs from the early 90s.
Yep. Project
And
Eiko,
2000.
Robot Carnival, Shoten
cool
no
boy.
Ken,
They're
Hokuto no
pretty
Ken,
rough. It's a rough studio. They probably don't exist anymore.
Cream Lemon.
They don't.
This is an adventure comedy ecchi anime, and emphasis on the ecchi, for sure. It's very dirty.
Uh-huh. Not as dirty as the manga, though.
That's all.
So basically, Kentaro Oe dropped out of college with like a week left to go,
Yep.
and he studying law? I think he was studying law.
Yeah.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Hickey, this is your destiny.
This is your destiny. You need to quit right now.
Trying to get woman with my bike. Although I'm in Brazil,
He doesn't
I
have to
might
quit
get
right now.
stabbed and have my bike stolen.
That is fine. That doesn't matter.
That wouldn't even be shocking.
Golden Boy. That would be really funny. Golden Boy, the Brazilian edition. It shows Hickey quitting law school, and then he rides his bike, and
And
it
immediately
has
gets
this promising
stabbed.
music.
2 blocks away from home.
2 blocks away.
2 blocks away from home.
Get-
Get stabbed,
He gets
and that's over.
shanked in the kidney.
No. He's riding his bike. He's 3 blocks away from his house. A car hits him, the guy gets out, stabs him, takes his bike, and leaves. The end.
Yeah.
So he just leaves
what a
his
bright
car.
future that was ahead of him.
No, he throws the bike in the car, you Neanderthal. God.
Okay, good.
Oh, man. So episode 1 is he works at a computer like programming place, and he
Yeah.
basically has to. What is he? An assistant there only? I believe so.
He's a janitor
he's a
first,
janitor.
if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's right. He is the janitor, and it's the whole place is only run by women.
Yep.
Hot women with big breasts.
And skipping
And,
clothes.
That's the kind of women I like.
Yes.
We learned very quickly that Kintaro is a very perverted guy.
I like my
Yes, he's
women the way I
ranging-
like my
tolerable.
coffee. Without someone else's dick in it.
Ranging from moments like that to having the bidet of the toilet go into his mouth and him yelling, "My porcelain queen!
Dude,
She sat on this!"
dude, it's called toilet humor for a reason.
Yeah, they really took it up a notch in that
Her
sense.
spitting and him eating it.
Yeah, I love that when she's trying to punish him and he's being creepy, so she's like starts kicking him and he's enjoying it. She tries spitting on him and he just opens his mouth like that. It's like he doesn't care. You can't get that guy.
Whew. So yeah, he works as a janitor during this time, does just weird shit along the office, and then something happens where he wants to kind of get more involved, and he accidentally deletes the entire
Does
program.
his hand turn into a penis?
Not in this episode. That's in the next one.
Yeah.
So they basically fire him, but apparently during this time he was teaching himself how to code and work a keyboard, because this is the 90s, computers were just coming out, so he wasn't familiar at all with it. So he teaches himself all this from scratch, from just working on like a cardboard layout of what a keyboard is, and he basically makes this new computer interface program from scratch overnight. For this company, and then leaves, and it turns out to be even better than the program that they were making. And that's, of course, when all the women all of a sudden realize that he's actually a fantastic person and they need him in their pants.
I
want you to fuck me, Jerry.
That is when he runs away on his bicycle going, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you."
Oh, God. So it's a very good start. It really gets you to know who Kintaro is, how skilled in just everything he puts his mind to. It's kind of a life lesson in that sense.
Essentially.
If you're good at
And
things,
just like every life lesson, he realizes to get the hell out of Dodge before the women gets attached.
Kintaro can't be swayed by just one female. He needs to broaden his horizons.
Oh yeah. Well,
Which
technically that is not true if you read the manga.
So that leads to episode 2, where now he's he's a tutor for a Yakuza boss's daughter.
Yes, he is.
I believe that's the one.
Yep. And that is when you get such graphic imagery, such as him holding her hand, and then his hand morphs into a penis, because, God, that guy is so dirty. Man.
Yeah, and she's constantly trying to seduce him instead, and get it, because apparently she's done this before with all of her other tutors, where she just wants to basically mess with their minds and possibly have her dad kill them, or at the very least make this dude beg for his life, and she pretty much gets off on that.
She's a sadist, yes.
Yeah. And of course Kintaro takes it way further than it should, and instead he asks to marry his daughter.
Yep.
I want to bang her instead of begging for his life. And of course, she then finds herself incredibly attracted to Kintaro again, and he gets out of Dodge.
No commitment.
Oh, God. So what did everybody think of this episode?
Oh, I loved it.
I laughed like a
Fantastic.
fucking idiot, just like every other episode. Before you ask me again, that's gonna be my answer for all 6 episodes.
Oh, God.
Basically. It is
I
very-
really wish
very
the
good at
show
what it
was
does.
longer than just 6 episodes. They should bring this show back for sure.
Then you should read the manga.
Yeah.
So the manga focuses a lot more on the, or at least eventually it starts focusing a lot more on the ecchi aspects, And you even get stuff such as netorare, and if you don't know what that is cocking or cuckold. Even that is a part of it, and that becomes a part for a long time.
Notori is better than Netorare,
Cool.
everyone knows.
Basically, if you have a fetish, or maybe, probably if you have a fetish, Golden Boy probably does touch on it. So, you know.
Oh yeah.
Nothing beats the swimming. Nothing beats the swimming.
Yeah, I mean
The swimming episode, we'll get to in a
this
second.
series
The
is how I
the
discovered
third
what
episode.
water sports and golden shower were. So there's that.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You poor thing.
Look at Hickey, the pure maiden.
Hey,
Hickey is best
I was
girl.
very young when I watched this. Okay, it was the beginning of everything.
All right, well then, let's take this a step further. Did anyone watch this going through puberty?
Nope.
Nope.
I
Okay.
think yes. I mean
I watched this at the time when I was discovering my own body.
yeah, I won't say that because that's very weird to say, especially with the
Why,
J-O.
No.
why? How is that weird? Are you telling me you've never watched a hentai before and J.O.'d?
No, I mean saying
J.O.,
yes,
huh?
Excuse me.
Yes, I watched it.
No,
as
no,
I
I'm
was
I'm
discovering
a
my
pure
own
heart.
body. That's not good. You know that jiggle at the end.
How is discovering your own body not good?
The jiggle, the jiggle, and the yeah, you know what I mean. The excitement and the jiggle at the end.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
But yeah, I think I was 13, 14.
disaster.
So yeah, I guess along the puberty. Yeah, a lot of people like I don't.
Hickey, you J.O.'d during one of these episodes, didn't you?
No,
You would pause it
no, of course.
and
not.
be like, yes, because at the time there was no internet.
Well, at
Oh,
your
no,
time,
now I'm talking
there
about
wasn't
myself.
any internet, Grandpa. At my time, there was internet. Okay, internet was a thing, and
He didn't.
internet was.
He didn't
a
J.O.
I-
until he read the manga, JD. Come on.
on.
Tori didn't J.O. to this until he read the manga.
No, yeah, that's also true. But I was talking about Hickey.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
don't
also
bring me
true,
into
he
this.
says. Alright.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed.
If I want to watch porn, I just watch porn.
I do that too.
Well, I mean, when you're 13, the best you can do is go to the Blockbuster and rent Golden Boy and pause certain sections of this
I
anime.
believe the best I could do at 13 was Google porn.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing when I was 13.
Well,
Yeah, but you're
Grandpa,
fucking old,
that's
Grandpa.
9,000,
your
Jesus
problem.
Christ.
I'm 29. Jesus fuck.
Yeah, Grandpa.
You,
Yeah.
you make me act like I'm 50. God.
Well,
Have
no,
you
like,
started planning your funeral yet?
Oh yeah, it's gonna involve disco fever.
JD,
Everyone must wear bell-bottom pants. Jesus.
JD, don't make me bring out the
And-
back in my day
Yeah, no, but
when anime used to mean
Seriously
something.
now,
When robots were cool.
Carrying the tune of the Backstreet Boys.
I watched it.
Guys, when I was watching this when I was younger, I was discovering things like if I'm swimming in a pool and Kintaro, for example, wants to swim faster and really, get up in there in a woman.
Yeah.
But
Well-
you can do that.
Maybe you shouldn't do that in reality.
No,
I
man,
hope
should
you
totally
didn't
try it.
fucking... Oh, God.
No, I didn't actually do that.
No, like you.
Well, see, there was this one
Behind the
time, right?
mind of a silver.
Oh my god. No, like
No,
yeah, I
don't say
was going through puberty, and like Tori said, they hear a lot of fetish in this anime. So, morbid curiosity. You go, what the fuck is this thing? And you go on the internet, or in JD case, you stop the video.
In JD's case, you go to the encyclopedia.
No, actually, this has become sort of a pseudo hentai episode now.
Hell yeah.
No,
Hey,
actually,
by the way,
there
we're
was
doing
moments
that.
where Hickey brought up the golden shower incident in the show. I actually asked my parents, like, what is this that's happening here? And they go, oh, I thought you watched cartoons. Doesn't seem like a cartoon much anymore now, does it?
Yeah, like
Going
Yeah,
around.
and my dad just goes, "Oh, that's when if a woman wants to get peed on, that's what that is." I go, "Women like that?" He goes, "Some do. Hopefully, you don't meet one of those."
But they're the best
Oh,
ones,
that is
though.
perfect.
Yo, body. It's like a porta
Episode
potty.
3, guys.
Like a lot of
So
other things, but like saying the episode 2, like the girl wants him to pain, to suffer. You know, she's a sadist, and you go, well, what the fuck is a sadist? You go look it up. I guess it wasn't in the right time. You're discovering a lot of those things, and I think it was worth to watch it and then to go Google it. I didn't wank it off after it, okay? Just to make sure you guys understand that.
This is when Hickey discovered that he is a masochist.
You are a masochist. We established that.
oh, you told
Your
Tori.
mom goes to college. Actual no you arguments.
Oh God! All right, so episode 3 is about Kentaro breaking his arm and working at a noodle shop, like a ramen place.
I do not even remember this episode, but yes.
I'm sure
Yeah,
I laughed.
it's definitely one of the least memorable episodes out of the 6, I would say.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to basically bang the noodle shop's daughter, and
Nothing
the daughter is dating just the worst kind of guy, and Kentaro like wants to fight for her honor, wants her to really realize who this guy really
He's
is,
being
and
a faggot. That's what he's doing.
yeah.
Yep.
And of course she ends up finding that out, and then falls in love with Kentaro slowly but surely, and Kentaro, of course, gets out of Dodge. You see a pattern here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do vaguely remember this episode when I was watching it as a kid, being like, and this was kind of that realization that up until a certain age, women just want to date a douchebag. Period. They almost want to be treated like shit.
Now, what age is
they
that?
want the bad boy.
Because I don't think I've met anyone outside of that age yet.
I'm convinced it's 35.
Well. Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
fucking terrible thing.
Yeah. From
Just in JD's
the
age
time.
range.
Yeah. Well, I'm not 35, Tori.
He's at least 87, man. Come on.
I do turn 30 in February of 2018, so
Exactly. Just within
Hey, I
JD's
turned
age
25
range.
in February.
yeah. So, oh my God, we're gonna have a Rhode Island birthday party here. Tori, you're not
soiree.
invited.
Of course I'm not invited. I'm from Norway.
It's a fucking disaster.
I love this.
Episode 4, Swimming in the Sea of Love. This is the Kentaro challenges an ex-Olympian to a swimming race, and this is where he
How was my swimming?
is. Yeah, teach me how to swim, and he swims up into her vagina.
Like a real
I'm
man.
into that.
Oh.
Oh man,
This episode was really good.
this episode was fantastic.
But it was not the best one.
It was not the best one. The best one's the next one.
Yes, JD.
This is when Kentaro this is when he's the servant for the rich family. And this is where he meets the girl who has a motorcycle fetish.
Oh yeah.
I remember that in the manga.
This was, yeah, there's a scene where he peeks in on her and she's butt naked, masturbating on top of her motorcycle's vibrations.
Yeah.
That girl.
Oh,
girl's
yeah.
really into her motorcycle.
Yeah, no, that episode.
If you're telling me you weren't a young teenager and you didn't JO to the scene, you're wrong. You're
Dude,
lying to me.
She didn't even have to be naked, even when she was in that biker suit, that fucking skin type biker suit on that thing. It's like,
I remember
yes.
around the same
Yeah.
around the same time I went to the school library and was this this sexual education book, and they talked about it. I was like, oh shit, that actually can happen.
Yeah, Golden
Holy
Boy.
crap.
Oh yeah. That is a thing. Yeah, no, but that episode was fantastic. And even better, when she eventually challenges Kintaro, that was his name, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Kintaro,
she challenges him to a race. Who's better, his bike or her motorcycle? And any normal person would think that this is easy going for a motorcycle. Should even be a challenge. But we're talking Kintaro here.
But this not for Kintaro Oe.
This guy, and he goes on the fucking ride of his life, down the mountain, over telephone poles and everything, just to get in front of her.
He rides, he
risks his life just to win, until he eventually just launches off into the air and fucking.
Well, so the whole race, like, he basically, if he wins, he gets to bang her, and so as you said, he goes on he goes on a telephone wire to get across the valley quicker to win the race. The problem is then she's like, "Oh my god, yes, bang me!" Like she can't believe it, but he can't stop the bike because he can't put on the brakes because he's going too fast. It's the first episode where he doesn't get out of Dodge by accident on purpose.
Well, he still ends up just going back to his normal state of mind, which is thank you.
Joe, you're awfully quiet.
I have no idea what to even say. This shit was fucking hilarious. I mean, that's all I can say about this entire series. I laughed like a fucking retard.
I mean, you're right,
the whole time.
though. You're right, though.
You don't want to have confessions of your puberty with Golden Boy?
No, I just watched normal porn my entire fucking rest of life. I'm sorry.
Get off my board, fucking normal fag.
Oh, this is a disaster! Holy crap!
I love it.
Great.
I'm glad you agree.
Come on, guys. Episode 6.
Episode 6. Animation is fun. He works in an anime studio as they're all doing cell animations. I believe.
Good animation. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, and they go through production issues, and what happens is, oh, my pizza's here.
Oh my fucking god!
Hooray!
Fucking hate you, JD. Get off my fucking podcast.
This is the best episode ever.
Oh my god, this is the fucking worst. Everyone, I'm so goddamn sorry this happened. This is so
I'm
awful.
so sorry you're getting a hilarious podcast.
Oh, man,
Someone explain this.
That is the best.
Oh,
This is
God.
the first podcast I've done sober.
So there's major production issues, and Kintaro gets all the people he's met previously to help out to this whole studio, and all the women fall in love with him all over again, including everyone in the anime studio. And Kintaro bolts again. So that's the 6th episode.
Fun fact, that episode is anime original.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
That
and it was
was,
really
that
good
was the
too.
only anime original episode they did.
Well, out of 6, it fucking better be.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I've never seen the show in other than English dub.
Oh, you missed out.
yeah. I mean, after the motorcycle chick, he meets up with his childhood friend, college friend, the other guy, who is a successful lawyer or like businessman. And he
That guy.
he talks a little bit about
the guy who ends up
Kintaro
stealing
and who he is and how he behaved through college and why he dropped college and how he wishes to be how they are opposites and how he wishes to be more like Kintaro, that kind of stuff. So it's a very serious part. Although I think Kintaro is trying to bang his secretary or something. Anyway.
Oh, dude, his secretary. No, let me explain to you what happens.
I'll be right
This
back.
man,
My pizza's here.
Okay,
Jay,
this
can I
man,
meet you? I'll
he
slap you in
is.
the fucking face.
This man, shut up. This man, he is a powerful man. He has everything. He's always been the kind of guy. He is charismatic as fuck, and he can get anyone he wants, no matter what. That is why he's so successful. So the entire way he's introduced is, of course, he steals some guy's girlfriend. She is very prudish and doesn't really she doesn't even want to kiss with her boyfriend or anything, and then she meets him for the first time, and then literally first day she's like, I want to fuck you. So they do. And kind of becomes not from their perspective, because they become very like people like her and technically this man's secretary, which is the one he talked about. They become very the main focus of this one, and they're all shocked because they know this man, this businessman, as the most powerful guy who fears no one. Yet for some reason, there's this guy working in a
Yeah, on the
fucking,
errand jobs, yes.
Udon stall outside, and they invite him. He's invited in, and this is the only man that Kintaro is the only man that this guy respects and even kind of fears.
Yeah, because
and it's like they're trying to figure out why, how.
You guys been talking about the manga?
We're talking about the manga. Yeah.
Like with the first story, they established that. We are being serious right now, JD. If you missed out, in the first story, they kind of established that because he learns by himself. He was studying law. You don't study like anything close to mathematics when you're studying law, and he learned how to program something amazing on one night. So it kind of established that he's amazing, not only by being very intelligent, but also by how he lives his life. He lives his life the way he wants. He lives his life in a very smart way, and this guy, kind of respect. It's the only person who he's respect and kind of fear because he is powerful. He's amazing, let's say. But this guy is a monster. He's another league. Kintaro is another league. He's painted as a fucking pervert and doesn't care. He just wants to bang chicks, although he never succeeds. But still, he's in another league. Especially
and
if you want to say something.
Yeah, no, you can just keep going. I want to touch on something else when you're done.
I mean, especially when you stop to think about it. He's a guy who had a life. I mean, of course, if it's not that if you do law, you're gonna be successful and rich, but he was a monster. He would definitely succeed, and instead he just dropped out. He's very brave, he's another league. It's something that nowadays and anyone, it's very difficult to drop everything you have and go out in a journey with a bike. How many people can do that? How many people that are intelligent and smart as Kintaro has the guts to do that? And that's something interesting that it's sometimes you kind of forget because of the nature of the show, but it's there. And these are kind of reminds you of how awesome this perfect guy you're following is, and you see yourself wanting to be like him. Not a perfect way, of course. The other way.
Yep. And I
just read this quote from the writer, and he goes, I really like to study. Often I wonder when it was that our schools forgot the true meaning of study. Something which is now often misunderstood by teachers and parents. Learning ought to be both stimulating and entertaining, and for yourself.
And I agree. But, JD, you don't mind that we spoil the manga, right?
No, I'm definitely going to be reading the manga now.
Good. Because
I might even get
what I think is interesting as well is what they did. Because while we're introduced to Kintaro as this, studying maniac who just wants to study, he did not discover this on his own. He didn't just one day up and say, I'm going to leave. The reason why he did this is because while he was at law school, he met this girl. He met this girl one day, and she was just like the Kintaro we know from the series and from the manga, earlier in the manga. She didn't do anything. She was traveling the world by her lonesome, studying, literally, just like Kintaro is. And she would do anything. She had been everywhere, and she was essentially his inspiration. And to keep the context of the manga, and anime, since it's pretty dirty, she was also his first experience with sex. Like she taught him everything he knows. And as to why this big, scary, fucking ripped businessman is scared and respects Kintaro, it's because they went to the same school. He met this girl. He met his girlfriend. And he fell in love with her. And he wanted her. Bad. So he tried to take her. He managed to, because they stimulate each other a lot. Those two, the girl and the businessman, they were much more compatible and much smarter than Kintaro at the time. So they could have conversations that he could not even follow. And they would stimulate each other so much that eventually he managed to break them apart. Kintaro ended up being jealous and ended up leaving. while his girlfriend ended up going with this guy to his house. And, this kind of leads into Kintaro's jealousy, and he doesn't really want to... He kind of cheats on his girlfriend, and he doesn't really want to have anything to do with her. But he kind of changes his mind, and he wants to know what happened, but he's scared, so he runs away, and comes back until he finally is prepared to hear her side of the story, what happened that night. And that night, what happened was, they were talking, they were having a good time, like the girl and this businessman, they were talking, they were having a good time. And the entire time, she could feel his charisma. She could feel, like, the power of this man. And she said herself, she wanted him. She wanted him more than she has ever wanted any man in her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what happened was, when he tried to make a move, she shut him down and left. And this is why this guy, this businessman, this big scary man who can have anything he wishes for, respects Kintaro, because he managed to win over a girl that he could not. He could not break them up, which is something that he could do with anyone.
Right.
So that's kind of
actually,
cool.
It's interesting how you bring up how you and Hickey bring up how this guy Kintaro just drops everything to kind of discover himself, or even just take chances and do some new, like, have some new discoveries. If I didn't, I can very much personally relate to this, because I went to Germany when I was 17, almost on a whim. A country I've never been to, a language I didn't speak at all. I had to learn everything while I was there. I had to learn a different culture. It's, making these kinds of life choices is not easy, and it's from what Tori says, how Golden Boy ends up going in this, in the manga is something I can personally relate to, and I can't wait to read it now. I want more.
Yeah. The only thing that's a bit of a shame is that it does end on kind of a damn squid. It's not really, doesn't really end properly. As far as I know, there's another.
Look what I'm doing now. Look what I'm doing now. I have to leave a foreign country and go somewhere on a whim, hoping something will work out.
Yeah. What I was going to say, so as far as I know, there's also a Golden Boy 2 manga.
Yes.
But as far as I know, I don't think that's been scanlated even. So I don't think that is actually available. But don't quote me on that. I don't think it was, at least when I read the manga. So that's a bit of a shame. I think there are raws of it.
So when are we all going to go to Brazil or Norway?
I can't go to Brazil.
Cut out.
What do you mean you can't go to
I can't
Brazil?
go to Brazil.
Why not?
Because I'm gonna get everything fucking stolen from me because I'm a white boy.
No,
I
don't
also
worry
don't want to
about
go
it.
to Brazil.
It's not that bad.
Tell that to
Sure.
the Olympians.
It's not that
already
bad,
said to
guys.
you that
Oh,
Rio
wait,
de
I almost
Janeiro
got
is a
hit by a
fucking
car.
hellhole, and you should avoid at any cost. But I don't live in a hellhole.
Yeah, if I go to Brazil, I don't want to go to Rio.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to
My
Rio.
place is a nice place.
I'd
I
rather
wanna
go
go to
somewhere
Brazil.
else.
Like I said, if you come here, you can stay in a fancy hotel in front of the beach.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
For $1,000.
For $2,000.
$2,000. All right, I'll save up. 2019. 2019. 2019.
Sure.
I'm holding you to it.
We can go
Make
have
Hickey
barbecue
great
and
again,
stuff like that.
2019.
Then we can have
We
some
make Hickey
bites
great again.
and go on a journey trying to bang chicks.
We'll go on a bike journey in Brazil and see how we'll even have a stopwatch. Time until it took us to get stabbed.
Nah, man.
Where the white
Also,
women at?
remember to wear a cap and wear it backwards and keep going. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop off law school.
It has to be a red cap too. Oh my god. I almost want to watch Golden Boy again right now.
Well,
Don't
we
read
should
the
I
manga.
definitely
almost want
watch
to read
Yeah, I wanna read
the
the
manga
manga.
because I read the manga after watching the anime, and I was surprised by like the different turn that manga took. Because I was like just expecting when it got really heavy, like in terms of like ecchi content. I was like, okay, this is basically gonna become porn, and it did. But at the same time, it's like it also starts becoming a lot more heavy and like touching more on like, you know, a lot of different themes and stuff. So I'm just kind of sitting there, like, especially the whole thing when when they show us how Kintaro like discovered who he is, when the one we know from the anime and
Right.
early on in the manga, right, how he becomes that, because it kind of shows, and I find that to be kind of important, that he didn't start off this way. It's not like he was just born like a genius and he was like, yep, I'm gonna go out and discover myself. He was scared. He didn't even want to listen to his girlfriend because he was suspecting her of cheating. He didn't know. He just suspected her of cheating, so he didn't want to talk to her anymore. And then instead he went on and cheated on her. And technically, eventually, he had to ask her for forgiveness.
Well, I mean, it's weird in those kinds of situations, relationship-wise, when and I've personally gone through this, is when you're convinced that your significant other is being unfaithful. And your reaction to that is to basically get revenge. And that's what happens with Kentaro. And then you because you've lost this trust now, is it even worth then staying with them?
Yep.
And you got to respect, just from what I'm taking from what you're saying, Tori, is you got to respect the kind of decision Kentaro made then after that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And now the reason why he doesn't commit to anybody, or I don't remember if she died or if she just disappeared. Either or, she's no longer with him, which is why he also has this quote unquote commitment issue. As far as I understand, at least, that's what I think.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to stay with anyone.
Yeah, you don't just get over certain things that quickly. I mean, I haven't dated anyone in 3 years since.
Yeah, because ultimately for him, like that girl, because ultimately for him, no matter what, even if he did, cheat on her and all that, and he wanted to break up with her, the reason why he came back was because he realized that he can't. That he's never met a girl that is more important to her or to him than she was. And nobody satisfies him in every single way of that word as much as she did. Sure, he has sex with other girls later on as well, but it's like, even as much as people, because that's kind of what the manga becomes, people eventually try to win over or break him, like the girls from this businessman's company, they try to break him into like falling in love with them, and they think they have him because he acts that way, but then eventually it's like, but I can break from that. Right, because he has the mental fortitude to break from that. They can trap him, and eventually they end up infatuated with him rather than him being interested in them. Like, of course he's gonna have sex with them. He likes sex.
He's male, of
Who
course.
doesn't like sex?
It's like they're like, but you had sex with me, and he's like, yeah,
of course I did.
You're hot.
Why wouldn't I?
So it's like, why aren't you attached to me? Why would I?
I think we're pretty much done with Golden Boy. Unless anyone has any final thoughts.
Now instead of
Golden Boy's good.
rewatching Golden Boy, get on your happy ass, sit down, get comfy, get comfy, pull your pants up a little bit, get Dokuro.
No, you want to pull them down, man.
Get Dokuro playing on your screen, and then move that fucking goalpost so we can review it.
No.
Yep.
I do want to know what everyone's score was for Golden Boy.
7.
I don't even think I added to my list. I forgot.
Oh,
okay.
7.
Well, what would you give it?
It's 9.95. Golden Boy. A 6. A 6 would be fine. The manga is way better.
Yeah.
But I think a 6 for a 6 series OVA is a good score.
I gave it an 8.
Especially because, like we said, it cuts off right when it gets good to a story point of view.
Yeah.
I can't believe this podcast lasted this long.
Right?
Me neither.
It's almost 3 hours of bullshit. That's impressive.
This is incredible.
Dude, this episode started awful, and it was awful midway through it. It was ended awfully, but hey.
This is incredible trash, everybody. Incredible trash.
No, this was the best episode.
Note to others podcasters,
best episode.
please do not improvise in podcast. Remember?
Hey, no, we always improvise. Shut up.
This turned out to be a really good podcast. I quite enjoyed it.
I can't wait to bitch slap JD in November.
Honestly, this was kind of a whim podcast. We weren't going to do this one. We were actually going to do what's going to be the next one is the Mobile Suit Gundam trilogy,
which I'm not going to participate.
Yay! Yay! No more Hickey.
Yeah.
No.
People won't see me in the next episode and will think, oh shit, JD kicked him out. Holy crap, he's telling the truth. Yeah,
we can't be the most diverse podcast if it's just 2 Americans and a Norwegian.
That is true.
No, I'll be studying.
So your spot is safe,
Yeah,
Vicky.
I'll be
We
studying.
need to send
through
JD
the-
somewhere else. JD, you're going to Mongolia.
No! I need
Yes.
internet!
You're learning Mongolian throat singing whether you want it to or not.
Shitty Mongolian always take my wall.
No matter where I am, you can't take away my past.
Yes, I can.
And I'm still very international.
I can hit you
So-
on the head.
Oh, okay. You can make me forget my past.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Physically.
the thing.
Close enough.
Oh boy. Well, the eclipse did happen, so I guess you missed one possibility.
Shit.
Should have killed him. I mean, what?
No, don't worry. You can force another eclipse with a proper Bahamut.
Oh god. So I'm putting this out to the audience. Would they like a dedicated manga podcast every now and again?
Oh, yes.
So,
Say no.
Hickey, where can we find the podcast?
You can find us on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Vimeo, Google Store.
Yep.
There are any other places? That's the ones I remember from my
Yes.
Stitcher.
Stitcher, and Overcast.
Stitcher, Overcast. We did a list. We're on
anywhere-
a bunch of
And
places.
anywhere with a normal podcast aggregate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not
A
SoundCloud.
normal one, yeah. There's a few out there like a FM player that doesn't update for some reason, but no one really uses that, so who cares?
We were talking about some
Not SoundCloud.
shady Android players we're in as well. You people who are listening to us can find us on my anime list. But if you want to get more personal, you can find JD on Twitter at
Bowling JD.
and Senpai Joe Senpai at,
Fullmetal_LAX.
and Tori also has a Twitter, but he rarely uses it, so I don't. Do you want to talk about your Twitter?
He's been using
My
it more
Twitter
often.
is TORXTRAPROX.
Yeah, trap something.
I remember
Make that shit easier.
And I
I
don't
have a
have a
fucking.
Twitter.
I have an underscore, and that's bullshit.
I ain't got a Twitter, so
Never.
yeah. You can find me on my anime list if you want to discuss philosophy and laws. I'm into that shit because I'm a nerd. Anyway,
What a nerd.
You can join our
If
mouth.
you want to join our Discord, drop us a message or just go to the Mal group.
Yes, and the Mal group is Worldwide Weebs Red Leaf Retrocast.
We should be the only thing that
So-
comes up if you search it into my anime list.
Yeah. So this was episode 8, our amazing review of Golden Boy and discussing cynicism versus critique.
Thanks for sitting through this goddamn dumpster fire, everyone.
Let us know if you want
God.
more.
I think this is a little late, but please don't listen to this cast.
Well, you can't tell them now.
Well,
Too
shit.
late.
Hit your head on the wall until you forget what you just listened to.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Peace.
Peace.